Facebook Live when you 𝗙𝗪𝗧𝗑𝗪𝗘𝗧 tripa Facebook Live now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to analyze what President Nelson Chamisa said. It's a 𝗦𝗣𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪𝗘𝗡𝗧. I think I need to get something underneath this thing. I need to something, guys. 𝗦𝗣𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪𝗘𝗡𝗧. But stay tuned. Don't go away. Ogadzira nyaya dzacho. Handi mazuva zvichidonha. Kune nyaya dzacho kuseri uku kwazviri kudonha. Right. Maswera sei vana veZimbabwe kumativi mana enyika kwese kwamuri. Ndoda kuti musangane neni wenyu 𝗙𝗪𝗧𝗑𝗪𝗘 mai timbokurukura zvishomaneni. Ndiri kugadzirisa, guys. Hanzi happy independence, brother. I'm not happy at all, Mkoma Sylvester. Yuda, bring it on President Independence speech. Yes, we're going to discuss about it. Yeah, I'm well, ladies and gentlemen. And apinda Mkoma Henry, Ziri say, Indaga Simba, Atete Christina, Tazen, Ziri say, much love, thank you so much. Quite some issues that I want to talk today. You might not see me smiling. So you might see me smiling. I know a lot of people haven't seen me in this mood that I am in today. It's not a happy mood at all. As today was supposed to be our nation birthday. So I did not even say happy birthday Zimbabwe for certain reasons, certain issues that Zimbabweans find themselves in. No Zimbabwean is happy at all. No Zimbabwean is happy at all, because as President Chamisa said towards his closing address, he said thank you. Then he went on to say, have a blessed independence. At that moment, I could tell that I'm crying. My tears were coming down when President Nelson Chamisa said, thank you, have a blessed independence, freed from the British colonial rule to the sovereign colonies. It's like we moved from British colonial rule, then we went into ZANU-PF colonial rule. All the two, the British colonial rule and the ZANU-PF colonial rule, if you compare the two colonial rulers, probably the British were better. So when President Chamisa said, thank you, have a blessed independence, I could hear my tears trickling down my cheeks. I cried because of the suffering that we have seen in the people of Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans have failed to handle their lives. There is nothing that Zimbabweans have today that can inform us about the independence. We've lost quite a lot in regard to life. that I'm not sure as Zimbabweans we are going to recover. There is total breakdown of a country. Total breakdown, which I don't think Zimbabweans will recover. When I saw President Chamisa on the address saying thank you, have a blessed independence, I could tell that my tears were wetting my cheeks. They were flowing down my cheeks. So I believe the same happened to you when the President of Zimbabwe, President Nelson Chamisa, bade you farewell and said to you, have a blessed Independence Day. So I'm set to explain certain things in his address. I'm going to analyze his address because I heard President Chamisa saying a great Zimbabwe is coming. I heard President Chamisa saying, together we can. One people, one vision, one nation. These were the words of a great man by the name Kenneth Kaunda, a man who was defeated in an election and left the presidium and said, for the purpose of Zambian people, one nation, one people. Let me step aside. I have lost an election. Let me step aside and allow the winner to run the country. Chiluba became the first Zambian president to occupy after Kenneth Kaunda. And he opened a lot of routes into Zambia. He opened the democratic route into Zambia. Unfortunately, Lungu has been trying to close that democratic route in Zambia. But Kaunda reminded Zambians, that one Zambia, one nation, one Zambia. President Nelson Chamisa today echoed the same sentiments, echoed the same words. One vision, one people, one nation. Zimbabwe is our nation. No matter how much people want to fight, eventually we dress in the same manner. We dress the same name. We wear the same name. That is Zimbabwe. This is something that identifies you. That's something that identifies me. Anzi, did you watch the interview yesterday? Yes, this is why I am coming today to analyze the two speeches. I'm analyzing the interview that a journalist exposed 𝗪𝗡𝗠𝗪𝗡𝗠𝗪𝗏. I don't think if I was Mnangagwa or if I was in the information department, I would leave that lad to continue with his job, because definitely he exposed Emmerson Mnangagwa heavily. That was a heavy exposure. That was not an interview. ED thought he had brought in those bootlickers to sing for their supper. Unfortunately, the questions that they were asking, they were targeted to try and expose Emmerson Mnangagwa rather than him explain to the nation as an interview. So it was like it was not a proper interview. It was something that was meant to bootlick, but unfortunately it ended up exposing him, because that led deliberately asked him about a child known as Nelson Chamisa. That question alone exposed him. Because his first answer was that this young man, or Mr. Chamisa, he went to America to ask for sanctions. This is what the answer came from 𝗔𝗙𝗓𝗪𝗓 Mnangagwa. Then that lad did not ask much about the issue of sanctions because he had already exposed his ignorance. 𝗔𝗙𝗓𝗪 Mnangagwa today believe that President Chamisa went to America to ask for sanctions, right? And he went on to condemn demonstrations, that he is destroying the nation by doing demonstrations. It was another weakness that Mnangagwa showed. I had to remind Mnangagwa to say, Mr. Mnangagwa, it was not President Nelson Chamisa who went to America to ask for sanctions. It was 𝗪𝗘𝗠𝗕𝗪𝗘𝗡 who went to America and asked Americans to impose sanctions on every regime that kills innocent people. It was just to remind Emmerson Mnangagwa that if he thinks President Chamisa went to America to request for sanctions, that's not true. That is not true. The truth is, Clint, another glass of water. Mvura. Ladies and gentlemen, Zimbabweans, you must be well informed about the happenings of your country. It is not President Chamisa who went to America to request for sanctions. Please, bear with me here. It is 𝗪𝗘𝗠𝗕𝗪𝗘𝗡 who went to America and requested Americans to impose sanctions on whoever kills innocent civilians, whether in a war or whether in peaceful time. So ZANU-PF quickly forgets that they sent him a 𝗪𝗪𝗪 to go and beg for total sanctions for a regime they accuse of killing innocent people. So that question exposed Mnangagwa's ignorance. The man has got no plan for Zimbabwe. He quickly forgets that it is on record that it is ZANU-PF, it is 𝗪𝗘𝗠𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗧 who went to kumbira ma-sanctions. Kuti tipeiwo ma-sanctions kuna Smith. Ne regime yese inouraya vanhu. Ipei ma-sanctions. So at least the ones that we are facing today, they are a little bit lenient. They are not exactly as what 𝗪𝗘𝗠𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗧 requested from the Americans. So one, remind Emmerson Mnangagwa that it was not Chamisa, it was 𝗪𝗘𝗠𝗕𝗪𝗧 who requested for sanctions to any regime that kills innocent people. If you see the chaotic land reform that led to the death of farmers, that led to the death of farm workers, that led to the death of activists, it was ZANU-PF which initiated that violence, which resulted in a lot of people killed. And the Americans simply enacted a policy that they used against Ian Smith. And at least these people were a bit lenient to say we are going to target certain individuals. They did not say we are going to sanction Zimbabwe. This is why you see even ZANU-PF people can travel to UK, ZANU-PF people can travel to America, because those individuals are not on sanctions. You have seen Chamisa on several occasions here in the UK. You have seen SB Moyo on several occasions here in the UK. We have got Zimbabwe embassy in the UK. So there are no sanctions on Zimbabwe, but there are targeted sanctions on ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is not Zimbabwe. So people must understand that. ZANU-PF is not Zimbabwe. The companies that support ZANU-PF are the ones which are on targeted sanctions. And the individuals who led to the killings of innocent Zimbabweans are the ones that were put on targeted sanctions. So it is wrong for Emmerson Mnangagwa to claim that it is President Chamisa or President whoever, Tsvangirai or whoever, who went to America to request sanctions. No, that is wrong. It was 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 who first requested for sanctions to any regime that kills innocent people. And ZANU-PF as a regime is no exception. So I think I've made the record clear here. Please tag Emmerson Mnangagwa and remind him. That it was ZANU-PF, it was 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 who went to request for sanctions against any regime that kills innocent people. And ZANU-PF became one of those regimes which has been killing innocent people from 1983 until now. They never stopped. This is why you see they are on targeted sanctions. And these targeted sanctions on ZANU-PF are lenient because they are not total sanctions or economic sanctions, but they are targeted sanctions on certain individuals. Put that interview so those ZANU-PF people can see. Let me play the video that I'm talking about. I posted it on my Facebook page. It's so interesting. Then I'm not sure if I can be able to find out a video that 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, I think it's on my wall again. So let me look for the video that I posted on on Emmerson Mnangagwa telling Zimbabweans that it is the sanctions which were requested by President Chamisa. And surprisingly, today we woke up to news that Emmerson Mnangagwa had bought a helicopter that he intended to use in 2023 elections. So you mean if Zimbabwe was under sanctions, were they going to acquire an 18 million helicopter for campaigns? Has no medicine, no good roads, but manages to buy. Yes, this is why I'm saying, if there were economic sanctions, I don't think he would have been able to buy an 18 million worth of a helicopter to use for campaigns. So the issue which is there, people must understand, it's not about sanctions, but it is about corruption that has destroyed Zimbabwe. And that corruption is still an ongoing thing that Zimbabweans must worry about. That guy who stole money in ZESA has been freed today on amnesty. In a similar way, or in a similar manner, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 was released after the 𝗪𝗘𝗣𝗧 scandal. So ZANU-PF cannot incarcerate its own people. The people must learn from this. That what you saw, ladies and gentlemen, on the release of that idiot who ate Zimbabwe money, 𝗪𝗘𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, ladies and gentlemen, it's so pathetic that the gentleman has been released from prison and is now a free man. After eating our money, after squandering our money, and the gentleman is free today. So what I'm saying is, I'm looking for these two videos. I didn't intend to play them, but I can't find this Jobo video. I wanted to play this Jobo video, but it was on my wall. But as I'm surfing my wall now, I can't find. I could have found it in my inbox. I've got it in my inbox. So if anyone has got Jobo's video, just inbox me so that we play it. Because at the moment, I can't see where I posted it. Edson Joho, when he was requesting for sanctions against Zimbabwe. It is in my inbox. If anyone has got it ready, can you inbox me Edson Jobo's video so that I can play it? People understand where I'm coming from and where I'm going to. Archive stories, videos. I'm trying to locate this video. Anyone with it, can you urgently inbox me Edson Jobo's video when he was requesting for sanctions against any regime that kills innocent people? From there, then we listen to what Mnangagwa was saying. That interview, it exposed him. It exposed his shortcomings. Because the gentleman forgets that the issue of sanctions did not start with MDC. Did not start with anyone as he is claiming. But the issue of sanctions started with Edson Jobo. Jobo was the one who went to America and requested that any regime that kills innocent people must be put on sanctions. Luckily, ZANU-PF has been put on targeted sanctions, which were different from the ones that Edson Jobo requested. I might get it. Yes, I got it, ladies and gentlemen. I got it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to remind Mnangagwa about this video. I got the video, guys, so I'm going to play the video so that the Zimbabweans really understand what I'm talking about. It's not MDC. It's not President Chamisa. It's not Tsvangirai. It's not BT. But it is Edson Jobo who went to America to request for sanctions on any government that kills innocent civilians. So remind Mnangagwa about this video. I'm going to play it now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the video I'm talking about. A Patriotic Front. If you look here, it's written Patriotic Front. This is Edson Jobo, who went to request for sanctions against any regime that kills innocent people. So I'm going to play this video. I want you to listen carefully.
Now our demands, Mr. Chairman, this committee should be sensitive to the new imperialist intrigues in the months ahead. The rigged elections should be denounced in advance because they have been rigged in advance. Sanctions should be intensified, and all members of the illegal regime, black and white, should be barred from entering any member state of the United Nations.
Kuruzhinji rwevanhu kuti masinzwisise zvakananga musangano. I'm going to play it again. Our demands, Mr. Chairman. The committee should be sensitive.
In the months ahead, the rigged elections
Must be renounced in advance. Elections have been rigged in advance. Sanctions should be intensified.
Members of the illegal regime, black and white,
Illegal regime members, black and white,
entering any member state.
must be barred from entering any member states. Zvinhu zvema dzosera yezvinhu zvose zvatorwa kumuvengi taura zvinetsika kuruzhinji rwevanhu kuti masenzwesese zvakananga musangano. Adini manzwa here? This was 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪. This is not Tsvangirai. Ukanzwa vachiti ndiTsvangirai, tell them you are sick in mind. This was not Tsvangirai, and this was not Nelson Chamisa. I think it is clear, ladies and gentlemen, that this is not Chamisa, and this is not Emerson. This is not Chamisa. This is not Tsvangirai. This is not 𝗫𝗍𝗘𝗑𝗫, ladies and gentlemen. But this was 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 pachezvake ndiye akataura akati rovai nemasanctions vanhu avo, musabvumira vanhu vanopinda muZimbabwe, hanzi musabvumira vanhu vanopinda mumamember states, musavabvumira. Ndo zvachitaurwa naEdson. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to find out a video again, the address yesterday by Emerson Mnangagwa. As apa magona sure isu takanga tisingazivi. No, Dr. Chokwadi, Edson Zobwe in 1978 at the United Nations calling for sanctions due to rigged elections. So we have got rigged elections in Zimbabwe. We have got rigged elections in Zimbabwe. So it is 1978 when ZANU-PF requested sanctions against any rigged election, against any members of the regime. This, to us, ZANU-PF is an illegal regime. So its member states must be barred from entering any member. Its members must be banned from entering any member states. This was according to Zobwe. This is what ZANU-PF agreed during that time. So for them to come and say it's Chamisa, it's 𝗫𝗍𝗘𝗑𝗫, it's Morgan Tsvangirai, this is hogwash. This is totally nonsense from an illegitimate president. Listen to what he said. I am going to play what he said. And they started talking about rigged elections before they had any elections. So let me play this video where he was exposed. I like this journalist. I know Vanhu Mamtuka Mkadzui, but she brought something out that you guys never thought about. This was a nice interview. I'm telling you, this was a nice interview. I liked this interview.
There is one man called Nelson Chamisa who is standing aloof, standing there. What are the preconditions, or what conditions are there for you to create a working relationship with them?
Well, you have mentioned this one Zimbabwean. You forget that him and his vice president went to America to ask for sanctions to continue to be imposed on Zimbabwe. So before they cut that biblical code with the Americans, it is difficult to be proper Zimbabweans.
Any child, an errant child, would get a bit of a shambok to whip them into line, either physically or through other measures, maybe counseling. What are we doing with this child of ours? Yes.
Well, I still believe that Mr. Chamisa is a young Zimbabwean.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mashinzwira Mega, the problem with this journalist is he is inciting violence against Nelson Chamisa. And we have seen a lot of ZANU-PF people, they are ready to kill Nelson Chamisa. And this Zimbabwean, this journalist is asking about intensifying or what Shamu ED is going to use on Chamisa. We all know, we all understand that Chamisa is eloquent than Emmerson Mnangagwa. Chamisa is popular than Emmerson Mnangagwa. Chamisa took over leadership of MDC. 3 months, just 3 months down the line, or 2 months down the line, he garnered 2.6 million votes. Emmerson Mnangagwa, having been there for 40 years, he failed to beat Chamisa. He had to rig the election. So, a rigged election is the one that Zobo said, any regime that rigs election must be put on sanctions. Its members must not be allowed in United Nations, in UN member states. This is what Edison Zobo said in 1978. So the problem with the ZANU-PF is you heard Emmerson Mnangagwa saying Chamisa and his vice president, they went to America to ask for sanctions against Zimbabwe, which is not true. The true account is Edison Zobo was the one who went to America in 1978 and requested for sanctions against any regime that rigs election. So I am going to play that video again for the benefit of those who were not here. And the truth is Nelson Anorira. I'm going to play this video again for the truth, for the benefit of those who just came in late. I'm going to play Edison Zobo's video. Guys, bear with me. This is exactly what ZANU-PF said in regard to stolen elections and violence about sanctions. This issue of sanctions started in 1978 when the ZANU-PF people went to America to request that whoever rigs elections must be put on sanctions, and whoever kills innocent people must be put on sanctions. This is not Chamisa. Apana Chamisa, apana 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗪. Tererai.
Now our demand, Mr. Chairman, this committee should be sensitive to the new imperialist intrigues in the months ahead. The rigged elections should be denounced in advance because they have been rigged in advance. Sanctions should be intensified, and all members of the illegal regime, black and white, should be barred from entering any member state of the United Nations.
This is for the benefit of those who just came in or who came late. What we are talking about, we are talking. I am analyzing the statement. Wait. Oh, sorry, guys. Narasa mvura panapa. Narasa mvura. My computer. Clint. Titi. Clint. Sorry, guys. Computer yangu yapinda mvura. Sorry, it's very unfortunate. Clint! Ruby! Give me a minute, guys. Give me a second. Ndarasa mvura. Clinto! Okay, ndarasa mvura yese computer yapinda mvura. Sorry guys, ndarasa mvura. Saka computer yapinda mvura. Sorry guys, I'm just wiping mvura yarasika panapa so that we continue. Water yapinda mu computer. I'm sorry. Zvawandisa pa table. Sorry guys, sorry. Mondregerao. We are continuing soon. I'm trying to just dry the water so that we continue. Mvura yarasika yekunwa. Ndikarega kuita video yacho ndine mvura. Taura zvine simba. Sorry guys, mondregerao. I'm going to dry this water, then we continue. We are talking about the address of President Nelson Chamisa. We are comparing this address to what 𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗠𝗕𝗪𝗑𝗪𝗧 said yesterday. So, to what 𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗠𝗕𝗪𝗑𝗪𝗧 said yesterday. We are not looking at his speech today at the heroes or whatever. My way. Yeah, I'm back, guys. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Computer yapinda mvura, but hope it will work fine. Boss, Lenovo are water resistant, I understand. So let's see where we go. Right. Yapinda mvura. Yapinda mvura computer. And it's no longer working. Statistics. The computer yapinda mvura. Statistics. Yapinda mvura. Sorry guys, water entered the computer. So the computer is just stuck. There is too much water in it. Right, looks like it's working now. Looks like it's working now, guys. Right. I'm back. It looks like it's working, but yapinda mvura computer. As the same rise. Lenovo anofanirwa kuva ne layer inside that is water resistant, but as far as I can see, there's too much water in it. Yapinda. So let's just leave it like that, but it's working. So I'm back. I'm back on the fold. Don't worry, guys. Remove the battery. No, it's working. Don't worry. Ikangofatnusa imwe dzakawanda. Don't worry, guys. Kumuyengi urayizvina. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Glass of water tipped over. This glass of water, it was full, so it just tipped over the computer. It just tipped over the computer, and the computer got stuck. But let's hope, if it doesn't work, then we throw it away. We use another computer anyway. Remove the battery, get blower. No, if I leave it like this, the water will settle down. I was saying today, I listened to President Nelson Chamisa's address. When President Nelson Chamisa said, "Thank you, Zimbabweans. Have a blessed independence," I started crying. I started crying because I know what he was saying. I understand that we are supposed to be proud citizens of a country. We are supposed to be proud citizens of a country. Zimbabwe, this is our country. The only country that we know. The country we were born in. You know, where you were born, that's the best country. All these adopted countries are not our countries. We are regarded as refugees in this country. If you get your citizenship, they'll ask you later that you got your citizenship from being a refugee. So we migrated from Zimbabwe to come to Britain, America, Australia, other countries, and then we are proud citizens of those countries. But deep down inside you have got a country you call home, Zimbabwe. Some people even write on their wills, "If I die, bury me in Zimbabwe." Although I didn't say bury me in Zimbabwe, bury me here in the UK. Ndakauza munhu ngati ndovigirwa ku UK kune makuva ane internet, kunoswa magetsi, mondiviga nefoni yangu nechigugula ndiri ikoko. Saka it's different from Zimbabwe. Ndaitarisa kwakavigwa mai vangu. It's a place yetu ukaitarisa unochema. Saka ndachema President Nelson Chamisa pavataura kuti "Thank you Zimbabweans, have a blessed Independence Day." Ndobva ndaenda ndanoplaya video ya dambudzo ya Emmerson Mnangagwa when he was talking about elections, when he was saying it is the work of President Nelson Chamisa, it is the work of President 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗪𝗘𝗡𝗅 who went to America to request for sanctions on Zimbabwe. So I went, I quickly reminded myself that it was not even President Chamisa, it was not even President 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗪𝗘𝗡, but it was Edson Mudadirwa-Zhobwo who went to America, who requested for sanctions against any regime that kills innocent people. And that regime, Zimbabwe regime, became one of those regimes. And they have forgotten that yesterday they were calling for sanctions against a regime like their regime. And today, yesterday, it was so surprising to hear Mnangagwa telling the world that Chamisa went to request for sanctions. He also said he went with the 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗪𝗘𝗡, his vice president, which is not true. The truth, I've mentioned it, I have said it, that the truth, it is ZANU-PF, which requested for sanctions from America on any regime that kills innocent people. ZANU-PF is not exceptional. It is that regime that kills innocent people. So for the benefit of those who just joined us, let me replay these two videos again. I am going to replay a video, an interview by 𝗪𝗘𝗪𝗪𝗪, who interviewed Emmerson Mnangagwa. I don't know for what purpose they were interviewing him. And that interview exposed Mnangagwa badly. If I was Mnangagwa, I wouldn't go for such interviews if I am not keen or if I'm not sharp in brain. I would rather go for a written statement and read a written statement. So I'm going to play this video. So bear with me, ladies and gentlemen.
Who is standing aloof, standing there? What are the preconditions or what conditions are there for you to create a working relationship with them?
Well, you have mentioned this one Zimbabwean.
There is one man called Nelson Chamisa who is standing aloof, standing there. What are the preconditions or what conditions are there for you to create a working relationship with them?
Well, you have mentioned this one Zimbabwean. You forget that him and his vice president went to America to ask for sanctions to continue to be imposed on Zimbabwe.
Right? So I'm going to play Jobo's video.
Now our demands, Mr. Chairman, this committee should be sensitive to the new imperialist intrigues in the months ahead. The rigged elections should be denounced in advance because they have been rigged in advance. Sanctions should be intensified, and all members of the illegal regime, black and white, should be barred from entering any member state of the United Nations.
Mega, guys. This is 1978 when 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 went to America to say sanctions must be intensified on people who rigs election, whether black or white. So we have got blacks now rigging elections, and those sanctions are being imposed. ZANU-PF is crying. They are accusing Nelson Chamisa, who was born the same year when Jobo went to ask for sanctions. And these guys have got short memory. They've got very short memory. They can't remember things that they requested from Americans. They said whether black or white. It's clear in the video. It's an edited video where 𝗪𝗘𝗧𝗘𝗥 said black or white must be put on sanctions when they rig elections. Must be put on sanctions when they steal election, when they kill innocent people. So it is good to remind Emmerson Mnangagwa that it's not Chamisa, it's Edison Zobo who requested the sanctions that you are suffering from today. And we are so lucky that the Americans did not impose economic sanctions. They imposed the targeted sanctions on certain individuals and their companies. And it's not about us. It's about ZANU-PF, who went to request sanctions from Americans. Musanyeperwe mukazvachinzi MDC akakumbira ma-sanctions, haisi MDC. Ma-Americans, what they simply do, they look back and say, what is all about Zimbabwe? There were sanctions in Zimbabwe. What were the causes of those sanctions? Election rigging, violence against innocent people. Then they look at your regime as a new regime. What are you doing? Election rigging, violence against innocent Zimbabweans. So what are the differences between the previous regime, which was on sanctions, and the new regime, which is following the previous regime's footsteps? Then the Americans would agree. Let's put ZANU-PF on sanctions. Don't blame MDC. Don't blame Nelson Chamisa. Don't blame Tendai Biti. Don't blame Morgan Tsvangirai. Those people never asked for sanctions against Zimbabwe. It was ZANU-PF who asked the sanctions against people who rigged election. To us, we simply say, guys, you rigged elections. You are illegitimate. And Americans down there, they know that we can't do business with an illegitimate regime, because previously we had put an illegitimate regime on sanctions. So today they put another illegitimate regime on sanctions. Please don't smear us with your debt. Don't smear MDC with your debt. I'm sorry to remind Emmerson Mnangagwa that these are don't blame MDC. And you announce makeke as you damuri sugar of the truth. No chokwadi atete. No chokwadi. Yes, I was surprised with the statement too. So this is the truth. What is there? So, ladies and gentlemen, seeing that the truth, it makes you cry. When our president was saying, okay, fine, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, after he gave his speech, and went on to say, have a blessed independence. That must have led every Zimbabwean to cry. As wakaenda ku America, we all know that. Vakaenda kwa America, they were invited to America, and they never requested sanctions. If there is anyone with the meeting that they went with the minutes, give us the minutes so we read. But we have got a video where Epson Zobo went to America in 1978 to request for sanctions. And the video is there. If anyone has got evidence about BT going to ask for sanctions, can you give us that evidence, please? As he has to use the rule. So give us evidence. They went, they were invited. Because all opposition members, you are invited. Even the ruling part was invited in America. This is why you see Mugabe went with grace when they were invited in America. Recently, Emmerson Mnangagwa went to America. He was invited in America. And he was supposed to have spoken about the issue of sanctions when he went there. So, problem iripo ndeyekuti ma-sanctions haana kukumbirwa ne-MDC. Ma-sanctions akakumbirwa ne-ZANU-PF. Because what they went to request sanctions against is what they started doing after independence. Rigging elections, killing innocent civilians, and there was no difference from whatever Ian Smith was doing with what ZANU-PF is doing. As a result, Americans enacted they've got them in their records to say Smith takambomisa pa sanctions nekuti aiuraya vanhu nekuti aiba ma elections. Saka, what is the difference between Smith and the Mugabe regime? At the end, they just took Mugabe regime and put where Smith was. Luckily, let me say, luckily, we got lenient sanctions. They were targeted. This is why you see, ukauya ku UK vana Eustace varimo, vanozviti vana vaMugabe. If we had total sanctions, ingadai kana vanhu vezanu usingavaone muEngland, you won't see them here. Because ma-British anobva atisi kuda chinhu chonzi ZANU-PF kuEngland. Saka the mere presence of ZANU-PF in the UK shows that there are no sanctions in Zimbabwe. If these people, vana Niki Mangwana, they travel in and out. Vana SB Moyo, they travel in and out. They are not on sanctions. Chinamasa travels in and out England. You understand? So, if these were total sanctions, the Chinamasas, the SB Moyos, the Niki Mangwanas, they won't be allowed to travel to this country. Andimon. Saka nyaya iripo, ladies and gentlemen. Mukanzwa Mnangagwa kudza nyaya dzema elections. Motaro zvakanzi naYuda nyaya dzema sanctions imbozi nyararai. Mbozi ndima akakumbira mega ma sanctions iwaya. And ndimo unoziva kuti anobviswa sei. Talk to the Americans, they will remove them. Don't blame opposition. They never requested for sanctions. It's you guys who requested for sanctions. Andidi maona. Saka ndo nyaya yacho iripo, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm saying is, pataurwa na President Chamisa, could thank you Zimbabweans. Have a blessed Independence Day. Na vandanzwa msodzi yangu kubuda. I listened to the whole answer. I think I listened to the whole presentation that President Chamisa was there. I was glued to my phone for almost an hour when this man was talking to the world. They forget, short memories. Things that they do, they want to blame on the opposition. And things that they do, these are the failures of ZANU-PF. These are the weaknesses of ZANU-PF. I don't know those people who continue to vote for such a weak political party. I didn't know. Ma sanctions are kuchema. Ndo vakamakumbira. Ndo vakamakumbira. Tinogona kuplay a full video ya Mdara Zobo later on. Pandenge na taure. Because I don't want to leave maningi ndire zvandikuita zvakawanda. So Zimbabwe and the Zimbabweans. Zimbabwe is a country. Zimbabwe is a country that you and me should be proud of. Today was supposed to be our 41st birthday. The country's birthday. Ingadai nhasi namuka munomu tichingopemberera birthday sekupemberera kwatoita Christmas. taka display zveZimbabwe muno tiridza music yeZimbabwe, especially Thomas Tafrenyika mapfumo mhondo reZimbabwe ingadai inga ichikuma muno mumba nhasi tichipemberera Zimbabwe. Pemberai 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 vakomana kani ingadai tichipemberera nyika yauya. Andini maona, but problem ndeyekuti we have got nothing to be proud of for the past 41 years. When President Chamisa said, "Thank you, have a blessed independence," I cried. And I believe you also cried. Every Zimbabwean cried. Looking at our country today, comparing to our country 40 years down the line. President Chamisa went on to say, winning Zimbabwe for change. We want to win this country for change. And there are other people, they are change drivers. But people who are reluctant to change are the people. As nice vocal pambembera and chambokumbira mukanya nibo record nawo nimboimba inini bemberai 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 baba kanimi. Oh, andini maona saka winning Zimbabwe for change as notoimba mudhara ndichatombokumbira bundo kuti ndimbonzwa as gogo as thank you President Chamisa mambo by its period. Thank you so much. Welcome my brother RJ and Zita. So what I am saying, ladies and gentlemen, when President Nelson Chamisa said, "Thank you, have a blessed independence," every Zimbabwean cried. I received a lot of calls after that presentation. Some calls came from America and Australia. Today, I was busy talking to people, receiving calls. This is why you see I even posted my phone number on my Facebook to say, guys, I know some people are requesting in my inbox, can we have your number? Can we have your number? Today I had almost 3,000 messages coming from different people. So I say to them, I've posted my number on Facebook. Those who want to talk to 𝗙𝗪𝗧, you are welcome. There's quite a lot of volume. There's a lot of calls coming in, high volume of calls coming in, high volume of messages coming in. So to those, please take the number from my Facebook page. Vandapindura vandakwanisa kupindura kuWhatsApp, vandakwanisa kufonera back kana kufona. Ladies and gentlemen, please, vandisina kufonera mondiregererawo. I will try my level best to come to you, we talk. Because a lot of people want to talk. A lot of people have got a lot to say. So it's like I'm the mouthpiece of the people who are scared to say something. But be there, guys. I'll be there for you. Don't worry. I'll give you a call. And those who can afford to call, please call. But just you must call after ndapedza live, you know. Saka nasi ndanga what is sanctions? Kutora minda motadza kurima. Monotenga chibage kuvarungu. Makadzinga masanctions acho. Akaoma, thank you Asekuru Chamisa for presidents. We love him. Him left, right and center. Thank you so much. So the issue here is we've got a country known as Zimbabwe. President Chamisa said a great Zimbabwe is coming. Together we can. One people, one vision, and one nation. This came from the president himself, President Nelson Chamisa. He went on to say, now is the time to have citizens' convergence for change, to give it true meaning to independence and patriotism. Unozwa ZANU-PF ichitaura about patriotism. Unozwa ZANU-PF ichitaura about independence. You ask them what independence means. To ZANU-PF, it means stealing. It means alienating other people. It means those who are privileged, who are politically connected, should only benefit. And they don't care about the rest of the country. To them, that is independence. Buying expensive cars, building their mansions in the face of poverty. You go to Mbare, you go to Epworth, you can't think that this is a country with mansions, with a vice president with 4 mansions, with a president with 4 mansions, with a president anenge Mugabe ane mwana anovaka mansions. You can't think this is a country with a blue roof, a house that houses probably 1,000 houses inside. You can't think that this is a country where Seves Kasukwere built 50-bedroomed house, where even Chiwenga is building mansions and mansions. You can't think that is the same country. To them, independence belongs to them. It doesn't belong to the people of Zimbabwe. You are not independent. I am not independent. So there is nothing that we can say, happy birthday 41st Zimbabwe. Because you have been suffering for the past 41 years. You have been struggling for the past 41 years. Those kids born in the last 41 years never worked anywhere. They never worked. They have no pay slip. They have no income. They have got no retirement package. They are just people who are surviving today and expect to die tomorrow. They have got no future for tomorrow. They've got no plans for tomorrow. Same applies to type of the president that Zimbabweans elected. He's a man who doesn't talk about your future. If he was serious about your future, he would start looking at what an ordinary Zimbabwean must eat today and what you must eat tomorrow. So we have got people who don't care about you. They only think about themselves. They only think about their children. They only think about where they will live on retirement. This is why you see most of them. Clint, I need water, my friend. I've lost all the water that mom gave me. I lost all the water that mom gave me. Can you give me water? Are you okay now? I'm live, please. Bye. So this is the issue. Close my door. This is the issue, ladies and gentlemen. We have got people who needs citizens now to come together or converge for a change so that you guys, you give independence, you give meaning to independence. Don't let government, ZANU-PF give meaning to independence. You must give meaning to independence. You must define, put it there, you must define what is patriotism. Let's not have a definition of patriotism as ZANU-PF. Because to ZANU-PF, when you say patriotism, it's you belonging to a party known as ZANU-PF. When you belong to a party known as ZANU-PF, then they say you are patriotic, which is a skewed definition of the word patriotic. They expect you to join them. Then they will say you are patriotic. What I do every day, 8 o'clock in the evening, that is what we define as patriotism. I come here, use my resources, talk to you people, talk about our country, mapping a way forward for our country. This is what we say patriotism, because I've got Zimbabwe at heart. Everything that I do, I think of an ordinary Zimbabwean who sleeps on the streets. I think of an ordinary Zimbabwean who has got nothing to eat today. Some of us have slept without eating anything. So when we talk about patriotism, we consider those people. What are they eating? What are they doing now? Where are they sleeping? They're sleeping under bridges. You understand? So the problem that we have, ladies and gentlemen, is a convergence for change, which we all need to support. And this is what President Chamisa has been saying. He said this Independence Day is a moment to re-image. A moment to re-image the liberation promise through a citizen convergence for change. Let's re-image the liberation promise. What were the liberation promises? One man, one vote. Is this what we have today? They are preaching about one party state. They forgot, they've got short memory. They've forgotten what they went to war for. One man, one vote. They've forgotten that. They now need one party state. You understand? As I zira number zeni to zira pa Facebook. I will say them come. Let's not give up. So this is time to fight. One man, one vote. They abandoned that that ideology of one man, one vote. Now they are talking about one party state. They say patriotism is when you join them. They are saying that Chamisa went to America to request for sanctions against ZANU-PF. They've forgotten already that it was Edson Zobo who went to America to request sanctions on things that they are doing. The Americans are just implementing what Zobo wanted in life. As you the best patriot, you have your country at heart. Definitely, Enes. I have got my country at heart. I love Zimbabwe. I'm a Zimbabwean. I'm proud of my country. But I'm not proud of a thieving government. I'm not proud of killers. I'm not proud of gangsters. Our country is under gangsters' rule. So I can't be proud of it at the moment. I can't be proud of any independence. This is why, you see, I never celebrated independence. I just celebrated Christmas, not independence, which I am supposed to celebrate every 18th of April. And today became a sad day for every Zimbabwean. Became a sad day. Sad day for every Zimbabwean. So President Chamisa said now, it is time to converge and break from the dark past characterized by 𝗙𝗘𝗘𝗧𝗘𝗥 marginalization. This is what the president of people said, that we need now to break from the dark past of like 𝗙𝗘𝗘𝗧𝗘𝗥. You understand? Exclusion, violence, and corruption. These are things that the president looked into, that we must break from that past. We must do away with corruption. We must do away with violence. In China, if you do corruption, you go before a firing squad. That's from one man, one vote, one party state. Wake up, Zimbabwe. Thank you, Kuku. So what we see in China, if you do corruption, they just send you to gallows. You go before a firing squad. Which, if I think it is implemented in Zimbabwe, once you do corruption, to go before a firing squad, vanotya vanhu vezimbabwe kufa. Makaona kumhanya wakaita Kasikuwera achitiza kufa. Makaona kumhanya wakaita Jonathan Moyo achitiza kufa. Ndofiyeri muvanhu vekuzimbabwe vanotya kufa. Ukavataurira kuti ukaita corruption tokisa pa firing squad like China, baba hakuna corruption inoitwa muZimbabwe. Maresources enyika anenge achienda kunyika. But because they are lenient on corrupt people, ndosaka maona udenga aburitswa just a month or so. Atoburitswa udenga atoyepo panze akutodya mari yaakaba. You see, and the purpose of prison service, vanhu havainzwisise. Let me tell you, the purpose of prison service ndeyekuti pawakaba kunze wakaba mari iyoyo ukaenda ukanotenga maproperties ukatenga zvawaida. Saka now mari yawakaba yo, what is supposed to be happening is, ndikabirwa inini ndikanoripota kumapurisa, munhu yeye akasungwa akaconvictwa, inini abirwa, I'm supposed to be compensated by the state. State inofana kutora zvinhu zvandakabirwa yondipa. Ndo mutemo weprison. Yandipa inini zvandakabirwa, votora munhu yeye akaba vomuisa kujeri. Paari kuenda kujeri, ari kuenda kunoshanda mari yaakaba yaakadya kudhara. Saka that person must not be given amnesty. Anofana kushandira mari yaakaba. Andini maona, ndo zvazvinofana kuita. Kuti ukabirwa iwewe kuZimbabwe, wabirwa motikari yako, woenda kumapurisa kunoripota. Mapurisa vakatadza kurikavha motikari iyoyo, asi vakasunga munhu akaba motikari iyoyo. Vakamuendesa kukoti, akaconvictwa nekoti kuti akakuenda kujeri. State inofana kutora mari yondibhadhara inini mari value yemotikari yangu. Ndonotenga motikari yangu inini ndo driver. Munhu wavo wandavataura kuti munhu wenyu westate ndiye aba, bhozi munhu abawe ndiwestate. Saka nabirwa nestate inini mune munhu westate. State ichatora munhu wayo akaba yomuisa kujeri, anoshanda mari yaakaba. Makore achagara kujeri, basa raachaita is equivalent to the money that idiot stole. But surprisingly, unoona ZANU-PF yakapa Frederick Shawa amnesty. Nasi udenge apo amnesty anamboshandira mari yaakaba. So he's going to enjoy that money. Mari yedu isusu. That is where the prison enters. And as is that helicopter for ED? Yes, it's for ED. He wants to use that helicopter to campaign for 2023 elections. And so President Chamisa said it is time to converge and assert the people's victory. Time to converge and assert the people's victory. It is convergence and reposition Zimbabwe to its rightful place among the family of nations. Ukada kupinda munyika pasirese, Zimbabwe is the most corrupt country, the most underdeveloped country, and quite a number of titles that Zimbabwe has received. But you and me, if we come together, as the word converge means, we can restore our country, or we can reposition it to its rightful place among nations. This is what President Chamisa was telling you, that it is possible in our lifetime. But I must Chamisa kana uchitaura batai mazwa komana. And civil and criminal law are different. But I must exactly. Zvinoitika chikerema. Civil law ndo yandozoenda kunoklema nayo. Kuti akaenda kujeri, you have to claim. Akaenda kujeri munhu. So I have to claim back my money. Criminal law will send him to prison and make him compensate. Mufana panzwisa apareme papo. Civil law I can go claim. Criminal law can send you to prison and make you compensate. How much do you have? Can you compensate that person? So he compensates. He goes to prison. He compensates you. But then I can still go and claim from civil law. But he has been convicted. I need my money. And you can ask in a state has to pay. It's very simple to understand. I'm not a lawyer, sorry. But I know what is all Famba. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, we are Zimbabweans. As Zimbabweans, we can reposition our country to its rightful place where it was before. The bread basket of the nations. The bread basket of Africa. We can restore that only when we do a true convergence. When that's where we can only attain a true independence. We bring sanity to our voting system. Let's converge together for the best of our country. This is what President Nelson Chamisa was saying. He said, today is a day of introspection. Look into yourself. Introspect. And Zimbabwe must unite. Let's converge. Let's rediscover. Let's converge. Let Zimbabwe rediscover itself. It is time to converge and shed off undesirable, retrogressive, bad habits and broken politics that was introduced to us by ZANU-PF. This man, Mrumano Chamisa, is something else. Let me look at the whole speech, what he was saying. This is exactly what Mr. President Chamisa was saying. And this is really what the president I say. Even here, Mnangagwa at Mr. Chamisa, because he knows that Chamisa is more popular than Emmerson Mnangagwa. Chamisa has got more people than Emmerson Mnangagwa. Emmerson Mnangagwa is trying to destroy MDC Alliance because he thinks or he believes that MDC Alliance can do Chamisa and wakanokumbira ma sanctions ku America. Surprisingly, ku ZANU-PF kuna 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏𝗏, who has been in and out of America. Kana ari munhu akakumbira ma sanctions, Gutu was the spokesperson of the party. Ndiye aienda ku America. Recently he was in America. Saka tikataura vaGutu ndo vakaenda kunokumbira ma sanctions. And vaGutu ndo vakadzoka vachitaura vari spokesperson of the MDC vakati varume, ma sanctions must be intensified after he came from America. Today he joined ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF never mentioned about him. He is the first person who went to America and came back and said sanctions must be intensified against ZANU-PF. I don't know why ZANU-PF doesn't talk about 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏𝗏, who said that. Chamisa, when he was invited in America and came back, he never said anything about sanctions. He never said anything. That came from 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏𝗏's mouth. Sanctions must be intensified against ZANU-PF. So I was expecting Emmerson Mnangagwa to talk about 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏𝗏, who said sanctions must be intensified against ZANU-PF. I was expecting Mnangagwa to talk about Elson Zobo, who went to America and said whoever rigs elections must be on sanctions. And whoever kills innocent people must be on sanctions. Whether black or white, sanctions must be imposed. And that Chamisa was anointed. I believe so, Jola. Mkwasha, I believe so. That man has got an anointing in him. when you listen to him speaking, nangoti azondichemedza pakuti have a blessed independence. Ndopanazwa musodzi yangu inopisa yanga ichibuda ndikati Mwari makamupa masimba murume, makamupa election akaiwina murume, mupei power, give him power. He is the only hope of Zimbabweans. Andini maona ndosaka manzo ataura kuti today is a day of introspection. It's a day that we should shed off undesirable, retrogressive, bad habits and broken politics that was introduced to you and me by ZANU-PF. When he talks of broken politics, obvious, he was talking about violence. Violence is retrogressive. It's part of bad habits by ZANU-PF that cannot see national transformation. And what is now the difference in position between Monzora and Chamisa after this convergence spot? I am not sure, Mr. Chikerema, because I did not hear Monzora speaking. I am just talking about the speech that I heard from President Chamisa. And I am talking about who brought sanctions to Zimbabwe, who requested for sanctions to Zimbabwe. We cannot compare Monzora and Chamisa because Monzora was never voted. He lost everything that he thought he can do. And in the morning, let's avoid giving relevance to Monzora. Because by mere discussing Monzora, we are giving him relevance which he doesn't desire. And yeah, if we don't act now, if we don't come together, like our answer lies in us all. That's what President Chamisa said. Tikasaita, this answer, the answer lies in us all, to the convergence call. This is the way forward. The call for a new national consensus entails the convergence of all citizens for real change and national transformation. This is the way forward. And can you explain further? Did I miss something? What is no? He's trying to bring in an irrelevant matter. Mr. Chikerema trying to bring in the issue of Monzora. Since I started, I never mentioned Monzora. He is the one who brought the issue of Monzora here. When we are talking about national leadership, when you are talking about relevant people, you don't bring issues of Monzora, because Monzora is nothing in terms of politics. And it's criminal to intentionally mislead the 𝗙𝗪 about why sanctions were imposed. At least tell the truth as president. So this is why we are saying our answer to a better Zimbabwe lies in us all. We must answer to the call of convergence. That call is based on national consensus. And if it is based on national consensus, it allows the convergence of all citizens. This is what President Chamisa said. For real change and national transformation, what we need is national transformation. As we treat Monzora in the contempt he deserves, we don't talk about Monzora when it comes to serious politics. When it comes to serious politics, we talk about President Nelson Chamisa when it comes to serious politics. But when we want to joke, when kanatamba nodo, the paroda is wana Monzora, nana komich, ndiwe nodo, nana mzuri, ndiwe nodo. These are old faces with the children's mind. These bodies are too old. What is inside them? Children's mind. So we don't need children. When we start talking about Zimbabwean politics, we don't talk about Monzora. We don't talk about Muzuro and Komich. These are children. These are old men's bodies with children's mind. So we don't talk about children's mind here. We talk about real politics. We talk about real change. We talk about a call to answer this convergence for national transformation. We talk about Monzora. He doesn't talk about national transformation. You talk about Muzuri. Doesn't talk about national transformation. Let's not bring irrelevant people in our political arena. Those people are irrelevant at the moment. Because we are talking about someone who lied to the people. Mr. Chinyanga, problem there would the voice will go, so at the end we cut off the presentation. I don't know what's happening. And thanks 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪. Let me tell them. So how can he tell the truth was 𝗪𝗘𝗣𝗧? When Chamisa speaks, you feel like he is head of state. Definitely, he is the head of state in regard to the votes that he garnered. He won the election. It was rigged. And Mnangagwa continues to be on sanctions because Zobwo requested him to be on sanctions after rigging elections. So Zobwo is turning in his grave. In his grave, Zobwo requested sanctions for Emmerson Mnangagwa for rigging elections. So whatever Zobwo requested in 1978 is still in effect. Whoever rigs election, black or white, must be on sanctions and must not be allowed to travel to America or Britain. That's what Zobwo said. As you know, there was the commission recommendations by Motlane. Are they implemented? No, they were never implemented. And what is it? What is this? Why does ED lie about use of sanctions? Why mislead the people? I was very disappointed. Every Zimbabwean is disappointed. This is why you see now every Zimbabwean listen to Chamisa when he's talking. Martin Williams Nyanga, Chamisa is the head of state. So listen, guys. That's what I mean. Just say, as you are speaking, man. That's it. Thank you, Ngoma Innocent Maposa. I didn't think I would laugh today, but you are making me smile. You at least the whole day. I never smiled today. As Chamisa won the election, that's true. I never smiled today, but you guys, you've put a smile on my face. You are so great. I love you all. I love Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is my country. Thank you, Martin Williams. Chinyanga, the scientist, is here. So the resolution of the land question is a manner beneficial to all of Zimbabwe's citizens. Is a national priority. This is what President Nelson Chamisa said about the land. The land is a national priority. It's for all Zimbabweans. Takazoona 𝗪𝗘𝗣𝗘𝗧 𝗪𝗘𝗣𝗘𝗪𝗘 akupa mwana wa bona mwanasikana wa Mugabe aive nepamiri. Mwana anga ari munhumbu asati azvarwa akapiwa farm. So it becomes corruption. And Mkomaida, please provide me a piece of legislation that provides for the state to provide compensation to victims when a thief is convicted. I will look for that because ndaizviona kuma courts charo ndaizviona kuma courts kuti paunenge wabirwa iwe munhu akaconvictwa, you have to be compensated by the state. Iye andoudzwa unzi how much do you have to reimburse zvawakaba, kana asina zvaanazvo zvinotorwa, then state yoeda some more, then wopiwa. And it is there, but ndaingozviona kuma courts because I used to work in courts. Ndokandaizviona. And Chamisa is the chosen one. Definitely, the president of Zimbabwe, Advocate Chamisa, gave independent speech, not Varakash. At 41, Chamisa varutaura at 41 years after independence, Zimbabweans are witnessing evictions. Vanhu vezimbabwe vari kuevictwa munzvimbo dzavakagara dzavakakurira, yet we are in an independent country where we say the land is a national priority. And when land is a national priority, you just fall in love with the Zimbabwean politics. My wife was asking me why I am so much into politics these days. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you, Mkoma Aaron. Thank you to the wife. Because you have to explain to her to understand. So, ladies and gentlemen, 41 years after independence, Zimbabweans are still being evicted. The same, in a similar manner, Ian Smith used to evict, or Rhodes used to evict, pushing our people to a certain land where there was no water and not arable land. You understand what I mean? So when people were being pushed into game reserves, into land that is not arable. People were being evicted from their homes long time ago by the white settlers. And we thought after independence that will go. 40 years down the line, we have got the Chilonga people being evicted by a new regime. Blacks on blacks. They are removing Chilonga people to give that land to a white farmer. Bringing back Sisu John Rhodes. So when they say MDC is a white people's part, you wonder. The Chilonga people are being evicted today so that a white guy can take over that land. This is ZANU-PF for you. That's their propaganda. This is happening in 41 years. Because this white guy is politically connected. He's a business partner to Mnangagwa, and I heard he's a business partner to Commissioner of Prison as well, who is the current Commissioner of Prison, Moses Chiwovu. And this guy is set to get land. Those people have been on that land for decades, and they are being evicted so that they give that land to a white farmer. 41 years after independence. And 41 years after independence, 99% of Zimbabweans still have no land, despite that is a national priority. This was President Nelson's address today. We look at our senior citizens and pensioners today. President touched on that matter. 41 years after independence, they are without safety needs and cushioning. Those people who were earning $1 or $5 a month as a pension, who are still around, who are now senior citizens, they've got nothing to eat. They've got no pensions at all because the government is not paying them sufficiently. So President Nelson Chamisa, as the people's president, touched on that issue, touched on the issue of senior citizens, pensioners. If you look at the quality of education, I touched a lot about the quality of education sometimes last week. And I touched a lot about healthcare, what we need to preserve. Healthcare in Zimbabwe is just for the privileged few who fly outside the country to get treatment. We've got a Zimbabwean lady, Jabangwe. She was in the UK. She was ZANU-PF's official in the UK. As I always tell ZANU-PF people, that if you relocate or if you go to Zimbabwe, coming from United Kingdom, your chances of survival are probably 1% or 0.01%. Ruth Jabangwe went back home. She fell sick. She couldn't get attention she couldn't get attention promptly. And she died. We lost Ruthie. So I said to her family, my condolences. May she rest in peace. She was ZANU-PF, Ruth Jabangwe, in the UK. She had lived in the UK for quite some time. She went home. She tried to do some projects home. She fell sick. She died within days or hours. If it was in the UK, she was not going to die. Because ambulance will be there to help her. Doctors will be there, specialists to help her. Medication will be there for her to be treated. But when she went to a shithole country, she succumbed to illness within few minutes, within few hours, within few days. So this is what I always tell Eustace, that we have got a health system which doesn't work. And these are the aftermath. She is not the only ZANU-PF person who went back home from UK who died there. If you count how many last year and this year, probably 10 or 15 ZANU-PF officials who went back home, who died. Because there is no working health system. And when we tell them in the UK that munongoti pfe vanhu vari kumusha vari kufa vanenge vachiramba, ivo kana vaenda kumusha vanonofa. Handiti maona. So that they see what we tell them. that government yana Mnangagwa is government yekuti not fair which support munariku first world country. You have seen a lot in the UK, which you should be telling them to implement this, implement that, implement that. If you don't, then you become an accomplice. As who give the money to mayors and councillors, it's ZANU-PF. As your political mileage you are seeking, you won't get it such a way. You need to come up with a better strategy if you really want to be relevant. It's not about political strategy. I'm just visiting the statement that was issued today by President Nelson Chamisa. I'm just analyzing what President Nelson Chamisa said. I do this often after an address to the nation. I go into and look into what President Chamisa has said. And it more. So 41 years after independence, we have abandoned the social agenda. He looked into that. With the collapsed public health delivery system, which I've just mentioned, where 7 babies die a day. A generation, we are losing a generation to ZANU-PF. We are losing a generation to ZANU-PF. If 7 children die every day, we have got a disgruntled public service where nurses will not attend to you promptly because they are disgruntled. Where teachers are not teaching, they are disgruntled. Where prison officers, they just look at the prisoners, they don't take them to work. They are disgruntled. Where police, mazuano mapurisa angotarisa, vana vari kuchekwa mitsipa vachifa, vana vadimburwa musoro, mapurisa hachashandi basa ravo. Because they are disgruntled. If you look at a chaotic education system which was introduced by ZANU-PF, everything is chaotic. Anzina Mkomadani, let me see. Hansi Yuda, what about flyers? The idea of flyers and information say of education about sanctions to rebut ED lies. I think we can do it. Hansi Tafrana Mkomatafrani, no Mkoma Yuda. I mean that Nataka. Thank you so much. So what I'm saying here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just looking at the speech which was delivered by our president, the independence speech. This is perhaps the second best speech that he has delivered this year. You enjoy it. You enjoy listening to Chamisa talking. He is the president of Zimbabwe. At 41 years, the majority of talented and skilled citizens are in the diaspora, seeking greener pastures and greater opportunities. As I'm talking here, UK is calling for nurses worldwide to come and join NHS here, and you will be paid handsomely. And you will see how many nurses will leave Zimbabwe. We have lost a generation, that is very true. Convergence politics might work. It needs your support and my support to say, let it work. As Mdara Yuda, Ndikan say you, Kundai, Mans, how are you, my brother? Sorry, it's like I wasn't looking at messages coming in today. Because I wanted to quickly look into this. Saganarasa ran 14 minutes. And I still have a lot to cover. But when President Chamisa delivers a speech, definitely he leaves a lot for the nation. To chew the card. It leaves a lot of us to chew the card. We don't want to chew the card. We want to chew the card. It was powerful for sure. This was one of the most powerful speeches that he has delivered this year. This independence is opening your eyes. It's opening your eyes. It's opening your mind to say, guys, quality of education and healthcare. It remain the preserve of a privileged few. Avasi vese maZimbabweans akuwana education. Ndizvo vari kutaura. Haasi ese maZimbabweans akuona health care. Ndizvo vari kutaura. Vari kutaura kuti many parents cannot afford school fees as I'm speaking today. Ndizvo vari kutaura. A disgruntled civil service and a chaotic education sector created by ZANU-PF. Those are what are President Chamisa. You look at 41 years, the whole generations have failed. Failure to establish growing economy. Our economy is not growing. And for the past 41 years, it was stagnant. ZANU-PF can't create jobs. We saw a very big banner that Emmerson Mnangagwa before elections said he is there for job creation. Until now, probably he created a job for 𝗬𝗘𝗟𝗪𝗪, not every Zimbabwean. So you can't get a job when you are not connected. So this job creation issue to the youth is null and void. Instead, he's calling them to go and teach them how to march. And I don't know if that will develop a country. If that is part of a job. As you talk about our Nwako, but I think unoshandira ZANU chede zvirambe. But uriko kuzanu andishandire ZANU mkoma ngoni dzasha. Andishandire ZANU-PF. Andomboziva kuti kuzanu kune chiasi kuzanu kune hondo kwanditsokere zvakaimbwa nemufeso. The good part mkoma Choko, I've never been ZANU-PF. The history is there for you to see. Never in a day. I've never even bought the type of politics that they want. It's too primitive. It's for primates. You understand? I have been ahead of time. I've never been ZANU-PF, and I don't think I will ever be ZANU-PF. I don't think so. And I don't think so good I will ever join ZANU-PF. Never in my life. And I've never been ZANU-PF. So, if we look at the entire generation here of Zimbabweans, if we look at the government here, it has failed to establish a working economy, failed to create jobs for Zimbabweans. And we thought today, 40 years down the line, every Zimbabwean will be working. Ndakataura vafana na Eustace. Ndikati, I've gone far with education. My CV today, as you blog this guy, autara zvenhu ngiriniwe. Mina ndimblog. I request one. I've sent him to the blog view. Thank you, Mkomadan. This type of language is ZANU-PF language. It's very unfortunate that I don't tolerate kutuka chemkuti chako. It doesn't affect me, but it affects people here. Some people here are watching with their children. Some people are watching nevanyarikani vavo. Ndakatozotsurwa nemumwe mukoma wangu akandisendera message akati Shepherd, papa ndokumamisa kanchi zvinonyadzisa. Saka mazuwana you see I limit iword ratakakura naro tichitaura kuchikorekore. Kuchikorekore hazvinyadzise. Ndokumamisa zvona ndokurova. Andini maona. Saka varonditi avoida mawords akadaro because tinenge tichiteerera nevanhu vakasiyana siyana. Saka tinozonyara. Ndosaka muri kuona this type of language yeZANU-PF, I don't tolerate it. I usually block. Because ukauya kati chemkuti chako panapa, hausi kutuka inini. Pane a lot, I'm being watched by over 250 to 3,000 to 300,000 people worldwide. Shona people, Ndebele people. So if you come here and watch chemkuti chako, definitely you are adding no value to the platform. I want someone who criticizes. Come, but I accept constructive criticism. Last time I made a video telling you clearly that I accept constructive criticism. Show me what I don't know. Teach me what I never saw. This is why you see yesterday but one, I went around with my car showing you bridges that Zimbabweans never saw in life, and showed you that this is what we call 21st century bridges, not what we saw in Karanda. So if you feel like Shepherd does not know anything that is in Zimbabwe, which was done by ZANU-PF, which is good. Show me. Because when you come here and say, 𝗙𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗪𝗘𝗧, honestly, you are adding no value. There is no purpose of me keeping you here. The next thing is you find yourself in the Blockville village, where I send the fools, stupid people. They spend the rest of their life very koko. And I just on this food. Maybe no kune account yemwe munhu, or you come back on a different fake account and behave. I know a lot of people here who came back on different accounts after being blocked, and most of them now behave because they know I don't mince my words when I say I don't want primates or primitive people on this platform. Don't show your emptiness. You are just an empty vessel making loads of noise. No. Show us what you are capable of doing. Show us that you think more than me. You think more than President Chamisa. Because this is all about President Chamisa. Welcome, shoes, Moshu. Show us that you are better. Blockville barracks, Mazanu, who are shimmering there in the Blockville. With the amount of friendship requests that I'm receiving, for you to come back again, it will be very, very difficult. And more, what I need one who are a bit improved in reasoning. Show me that you can reason better than me. Show me that you can reason better than President Chamisa. Because this statement is perhaps the best or second best from the one that he presented last time. And not one ZANU-PF person has ever produced such a brilliant idea to the people of Zimbabwe, such a brilliant speech to the people of Zimbabwe. So all the speeches that you hear from 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 Mnangagwa, they make you hopeless. The whole speech will just make you hopeless. 41 years after independence, Mnangagwa has got nothing to say to the people. He just hurried to condemn. Chamisa brought sanctions here. He doesn't know that sanctions, the sanctions in Zimbabwe were requested by 𝗪𝗘𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗧 in 1978. And 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗪 Mnangagwa doesn't know that. So we just remind him. Hands or Blockville section for condemned trolls. Because if you come here, show us. I've got a lot of ZANU-PF guys here. Masiyayo aripano. Vanotoziva uimsiyayo varipano. And mazano aripano. Vanaponela vanoswera pano. Vana Eustace vanoswera pano. I don't block them because I know whatever I say, they can't counter that. Because whatever I bring to the people is the truth and nothing else. So you can't counter the truth. Because Eustace kuti zvobo, haana here kuenda 1978 kuAmerica, kunoudza ma-Americans kuti isai munhu anoba ma-elections pama-sanctions. Isai munhu anouraya vanhu pama-sanctions. And ZANU-PF iri kuba ma-elections saka iri pama-sanctions. ZANU-PF iri kuuraya vanhu saka iri pama-sanctions. Kana azviramba Eustace tomuplayera video yazvobwa achitaura. We give him evidence. And there's time to spoke Zan Underwear. Andini maona here. So this is what we need here. We need people who show that they think. We are not kidding here. We're just showing our human side. Even sometimes could entertain our ZANU-PF. That is my human side. Considering what I went through in the hands of ZANU-PF. Now if I don't go to my Blockville chat, I'm going to ZANU boom. I'm going to ZANU boom. But I'm considerate. You understand? So let's keep let's not make this platform down by using unprintable words here. By using unprintable words here. Let's not be emotional. Because let's try to emulate an awesome statement that was given by our president, chiefly for Zimbabweans. This is for you. The Citizen for Convergence is for you. It's not for UDA. It's not for Chamisa. It's an exceptional idea that if we buy it, then we are going to have something for our children in future. Something for your children in future. Because Chamisa, this is an entirely failed generation of young people. Young people are being radicalized. You are being taught hate language. You are being taught hate speeches by ZANU. You are being trained in violence instead of being given skills. This is what President Chamisa was pointing at. And yesterday, I delved much into the skills that we expect the youth militias or the national youth to receive from ZANU-PF. We don't expect you to receive drill. It does not help you in future unless if you just want to be a security guard. If you want to join the security forces, yes, you can go march there. But if you march and you go to a workshop, you are not going to march in workshop. You are going to curve. You are going to mend cars there. You are not going for a drill workshop. And then Murwana. As I do you wanted to see your end. So thanks Mkoma Dan. So what we are saying is 41 years we witnessed an exponential spike in social vices such as drug abuse and violent crimes. Our youth are being pushed into drug abuse by ZANU-PF. To the extent that ZANU had to declare Mpana Soldier Love a hero because of drugs. It's not because of music. But if it was because of music, we've got a lot of people who sang during the struggle, who were never buried by 𝗪𝗘𝗧𝗑 and Didimona. So it's the priority of ZANU-PF that makes us talk. They are wrong priorities. They are breeding radicalization in our country. They are just like extremists in Mozambique. This is what President Chamisa was saying. He said we should learn lessons from Mozambique, where radicalism and extremism might end up being witnessed in our country. ZANU-PF is radicalizing youth. If ZANU-PF allows its youth to display an scientific words is not necessary. Like got meth, vana cocaine, vana heroin, vanenge vakakuyiwa muchiratidzwa nemawindo emotikari, vakapfeka marigalia eZANU-PF. They are radicalizing our youth. These youth will become extremists. So this social rise of drugs is as a result of ZANU-PF's failure to put straight I think Chamisa is a threat to our national security. It all depends on what national security you are talking about. Sanctions must go. Sanctions were brought by Zobo. It's bad for Zimbabwe to call for sanctions. Titambure Yuda. Yeah, Zobo called for sanctions. Let me play that video again so that the ZANU-PF people might understand who called for sanctions in Zimbabwe. I'm going to replay that video so that I can help Choco understand where the sanctions came from. So this is Edison Zobo Mdadirwa in 1978 when he went to America and he said sanctions must be imposed on whoever rigs an election. And sanctions must be imposed on whoever kill innocent civilians. Anyone who kill innocent civilians, whether black or white, must never be allowed into America. This was Zobo who said that. And today, ZANU-PF is killing people. Today, ZANU-PF is rigging elections. And Zobo said whoever rigs the election must be on sanctions. Let me play this for the benefit of Choco.
Now our demand, Mr. Chairman, this committee should be sensitive to the new imperialist intrigues in the months ahead. The rigged elections should be denounced in advance because they have been rigged in advance. Sanctions should be intensified, and all members of the illegal regime, black and white, should be barred from entering any member state of the United Nations.
Mavanzwa ere ndati ndibatsire mukoma Choko. Regai ndivaplay president wawo achitaura. It's nice that we have got all the videos now on our exposure. It's why
one man called 盛 Chamisa, who is standing aloof, standing there. What are the preconditions, or what conditions are there for you to create a working relationship with them?
Well, you have mentioned this one Zimbabwean. You forget that him and his vice president went to America to ask for sanctions to continue to be imposed on Zimbabwe. So before they cut that biblical code with the Americans, it is difficult to be proper Zimbabweans.
Any child.
right, I think mapanzwa apo ndopanani kuda kuti vanzwe mukoma Choko kuti who akakumbira masanctions ndiani. That was 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 mudadirwa. Akati ukariga ma-elections isopa ma-sanctions, whether black or white. Ukauraya munhu vanhu vasina mhosva isopa ma-sanctions, whether black or white. You must never be allowed to enter member states, including Britain and America. That's the biblical code. Musamuseka kukura wakomana mdara yakura. So this is as the propaganda blinds people. Yeah, it makes them blind. They don't see reality. But Isuswana Yuda, we quickly pick reality and come and show you, to open our eyes and mind so that you guys can see. No, Pakavama sanctions. Saka, it was a policy that these guys, ZANU-PF, went to America and he proposed that whoever rigs election must be on sanctions. Whoever kills innocent people must be on sanctions, whether you are black or white. They never thought that one day they will come and kill people. They will come and kill people. They never thought one day they will come and rig elections. So the Americans, they just look back and say, okay, ZANU-PF were the first to say, if you rig an election, you must not be allowed to enter Britain and America. So sanctions must be intensified. And this monster we have in Zimbabwe is corrupt. So Zobo said sanctions must be intensified. I didn't wonder. Saka inini ndakamira panapa sayuda. Saka ndikutaura kuti Emerson Mnanga kwa rigged election. Emerson Mnanga kwa killed people on the 1st of August and the 14th of January. So sanctions must be intensified. Leaders of ZANU-PF are just like leaders of the British Democratic Party here in Botswana. Oh, Botswana. Chamisa took a leaf from Zobo. So, this is why I'm saying to ZANU-PF people, you have been singing sanctions for 20 years. Please, can you give us evidence or a video like what I've shown you, showing Chamisa discussing about sanctions? That will be great for us. Google, go everywhere online and tell us where Chamisa requested for sanctions. And then I've shown you that the sanctions were requested by 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 Zobo. ZANU fell on its sword. Thank you so much. Let's show us the evidence. Don't have to kukumbira mapfe kutipewo evidence. It's true kupai evidence. Imimi tipewo evidence. Kuti ZANU-PF ndo yakatanga zvekukumbira ma sanctions zvakatanga neZANU and zvine evidence. Don't just say Chamisa zvisina evidence. Give us evidence. and toziva kuti alright ndozvavakataura musi uya vaChamisa vakakumbira masanctions musi wakati. Aya masanctions akakumbirwa naZvobho akati whether you are black or white, as we see today black people rigging elections, Zhobho said they must be put on sanctions. As we see today that you have got ability to kill Zimbabweans, and Zhobho said you must be put on sanctions. So in my opinion, it's Dr. Edson Zhobho who requested for these sanctions. If you ask me, then I will show you the video. This is what I can only do. It seems Zimbabweans or ZANU-PF, they are quick to forget things that they do. So the internet does not forget. Pazo born 1978, kwakusina internet, but it doesn't forget. Kune vanhu vanotora information vachichengeta. The internet does not forget. Chengetai mavideos angwa. Mukazona ndojoina ZANU-PF mondibvunza kuti gore rakati 2021 wakataura kuti you have never been ZANU-PF. You have never joined ZANU-PF. What are you doing in ZANU-PF today? Andini maona. Saka maona tikutaura kuti we give evidence. We give evidence. We don't just talk without evidence. Mukana ndauya pano ndinouya ne-evidence dzekuratidza kuti no hevo vaZhobho vakataura kuti ukariga election you must be put on sanctions. You whether you are black or white, and you must be put on sanctions. VaZhobho vakadaro. And so let's proceed. Hazidzokerera foot this video vanhu vatandidzokerere foot so that people can understand what VaZhobho said. So I'm going to replay the same video so that people listen carefully to what Zhobho said. He said sanctions must be intensified. Regai ndiplay a video. Ndozonzwa yava muchango yaiswa namukoma Robert nchavhura yava muchango. Timbonzwa yava Zhobho. Hanzi ndiplay futhi.
Now our demands, Mr. Chairman, this committee should be sensitive to the new imperialist intrigues in the months ahead. The rigged elections should be denounced in advance because they have been rigged in advance. Sanctions should be intensified, and all members of the illegal regime, black and white, should be barred from entering any member state.
All members of the illegal regime, we have got an illegal regime in Zimbabwe at the moment, and their people must be barred from entering member states. This is what was said in 1978. This is why you see ZANU-PF is barred from entering UK and elements of ZANU-PF. At least they were a bit lenient to target a few people. But Zhobho said they must all be put on sanctions.
Now our demands, Mr. Chairman, this committee should be sensitive to...
Zhobho said, now our demands, Mr. Chairman. These are the demands.
Our demands, Mr. Chairman. This committee should be sensitive to the new imperialist intrigues in the months ahead. The rigged elections should be denounced in advance because they have been rigged in advance. Sanctions should be intensified, and all members of the illegal regime, black and white, should be barred from entering any member state of the United Nations.
This is a video. As wapeza, Chirega endi play Yavamunangagwa when he was lying to the nation. I've never seen him mdara anonyepa kudaro. Mdara ukeninyepa. Kudanzi ma sanctions akakumbirwa na vaChamisa terai munzu.
There is one man called Nelson Chamisa who is standing aloof, standing there. What are the preconditions or what conditions are there for you to create a working relationship with them?
Well, you have mentioned this one Zimbabwean. You forget that him and his vice president went to America to ask for sanctions to continue to be imposed on Zimbabwe.
Vakanganwa vakura kuti who went to ask for sanctions to be intensified. And sanctions were asked by Zobo to be intensified in 1978. Intensification of sanctions on a condition or is based on if you rig an election, sanctions has to be intensified. That's what Zobo said. If you kill people, sanctions have to be intensified. Whether you are black or white, sanctions must be intensified. Those zvakataurwa navaZobo. Savakura vanonzi Mnangagwa vanokanganwa kuziva kuti ivo ndo vaisa mapolisi iwayo vachigara pasi naZobo vachitaura kuti sanctions must be intensified. Nhasi vaakuchema kunonzi kuzvikanga nguruve yakazvikanga nemafuta ayo. But why is this opposition not countering the sanctions? Opposition has got no duty hope of countering that. It's a propaganda machinery being used by ZANU-PF, and you and me, we are the opposition and we know. And one, so you and me, hope, we are the opposition and we know. And we know that it's just propaganda. So let me continue, guys. Because ndikada kuvhura ma-audios andichapedzi ndatopfuura ne14 minutes I should have cut. Saka chiregai ndikontinue with this with the entire generation so far, a generation of brilliant young people who can not add a value to a country, who have lost the dignity of their hard work, who are academic brilliant, to art, very academic brilliant, to sport, very excellence to sport. Nobody awards these people. And in the morning, and Zidera Yuda is a proud Zidera ndakataura nezvayo Mr. Chikerema. Go pa YouTube, go back on the videos that I made. I went through Zidera and I asked the ZANU-PF people to pick where MDC wrote Zidera, and not even one ZANU-PF person pointed to Zidera as a construct of MDC. Zidera is an act which is in the American probably constitution or whatever. It's an act of an economical reform. So when I spoke about it, it was just an act of economic reforms where people are failing to understand economic reform cannot be a sanction. And in the morning, an economic reform will never be a sanction. As you know, green button today, after the Barbara, no worries. So an economic reform will never be a sanction. It's just like ISAP. ISAP was not a sanction to Zimbabwe. ISAP was an economic reform that was done by ZANU-PF. So mapua economic reform in Zidera, makuchema makufunga sanction. It's not a sanction. As you please play. Mkoma done time do apera manje. I've got laws to present. So let me play those videos next time. Time yangu do ya run out. So ISAP nezidera azvinakusiyana. Those are not sanctions, but they are economic reform programs. ISAP, it was economical something reform what. Zidera is just a reform program. And as it was proposed in 1998, debated and put into law in 2000 and 2001. 1998 kwakusina MDC. These guys must understand it. Thanks Mkoma Richard Kunaka. Kudi Zidera yakaiswa 1998 kwakusina ZANU-PF. Kwakusina MDC 1998. Pakatanga America kuisira an economic recovery plan. So ISAP and Zidera, these are not sanctions, but they are economic recovery plans that were given to Zimbabwe. What we want you guys to do for you to recover follow this, follow that, follow that, follow that. So failure to follow this, don't come to us for any help. Then Zimbabweans, they are crying. They think it's a sanction. It's not a sanction. It's an act that needs you to implement certain requirements for you to be allowed to go to America. So if for your failure to refuse to kill people, then that act will still be there. They won't remove it. If you continue to send the soldiers to go shoot people on the streets, that act won't go. So 𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗑 is just an act which was debated in US Parliament 1998 before MDC was formed and put into full use in 2001. So it has got nothing to do with MDC. Even if you read the document, they mention nothing about MDC proposing 𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗑. MDC has got no powers to influence Americans who devise an act against Zimbabwe. This is why you see America, they debate their issues. They go to wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, and so forth. It's an economic structural adjustment program. Yes, that was not a sanction. It is as good as 𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗑, because 𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗑 is just an economical reform program or an act that was put for you guys to follow so that you recover economically. So your failure to implement 𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗑 is not about MDC. MDC does not implement 𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗑. If MDC comes to power, 𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗑 will still be around, and MDC is expected to follow what 𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗑 wants. If they don't want, they will never remove it. That's informal, unlike Zobo in a UN. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go. 41 years of independence. President Chamisa said, our beautiful Zimbabwe is without solid infrastructure. So we are looking at solid infrastructure in our country. 41 years down the line, we've got nothing. Our roads are full of potholes. Our bridges, zviumbwa zvemutapo zvokuti mvura ikauya inotakura hasi mabridge, and the communication infrastructure hapana. It is in a sorry state. This is what President Chamisa was addressing the nation at. So we look at 41 years of corruption. Zimbabweans has got nothing to celebrate. Corruption derailed the independence dream. The dream that Zimbabweans had before war. I played that video of Zimbabweans' dream yesterday when they were talking about jobs. You understand? Those were dreams. How about Mugabe? We don't expect Mugabe to fail. But eventually, Mugabe failed. So, if we look at the independence dream that was there, it was eroded by this regime. The gains of our independence, the gains of our liberation war, the dream of our liberation war, it went down the drain through corruption by the people who say they liberated you today. So if you look at workers, during that time, during Ian Smith, workers were paid a wage that was decent. On top, Smith, vanhu vemapurazi vaiva manzi vaishanda mumapurazi vaiora $35 a week, I think, or a month. Vanhu vaipiwa on top, vaipiwa hupfu, vaipiwa mabaka yavo, beans vaipiwa mahara, nyimo vaipiwa mahara, dzimba dzekugara vaipiwa mahara, magesi vanga vasingaterere, mvura yekunwa vanga vasingatenge mapurazi. Murungu aingovavakira dzimba vogara mahara achivapa $35 a week. That was that. So that wage was a working wage, which if you look at 35 pounds during that time a week, nanasi mugatijera ari muHarare muZimbabwe haahore mari iyoyo, $35 a week or pounds a week. Remember, 35 pounds a week by Ian Smith, it was about 70 pounds a week in British pound. It was 1 to 2. Rhodesia had the strongest currency in the world. So it was just like they were earning about 70 pounds a week, which Mnangagwa government will never afford to pay a farm worker. You understand? So there is no living wage today. Our teachers, nurses, and civil servants are without decent salaries, and they've lost dignity. Kutonzi teacher muZimbabwe zvakunyadzisa. Kunzi musoja muZimbabwe zvakunyadzisa. Kunzi nurse muZimbabwe zvakunyadzisa. Kunzi mugadjere kana kunzi mupurisa zvakunyadzisa muZimbabwe. Kudhara zvainyengesa. Zvaidadisa kudhara. So we have got a country that is drowned in debt. Zvikwereti zveZimbabwe zvainyudza. We have got an irresponsible government, a criminal elite. Those are President Chamisa. The people who are in government today, they are criminal elites. They are unable to provide you with anything. Thank you, Mof. You heard, I am the bank, I am the police, I am the soldiers, I am everything. But he is failing to pay these people. Anzo nemapurazi vaishupika. 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 mukarate. Musanyepa. I grew up at a farm. And this is a farm yamutaura vanhu vaishupika ndeipi. I grew up at a farm. Baba vangu vaishanda kutengwe. Regai nditaurire 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪. Ndakazvarwa papurazi inini. Pafarm inonzi pamuringai. Ukaenda ukaroi pafarm panonzi pamuringai. Padhuze pakanzi Jacob's Ladder. Pane muti muhombe uripo ipapo. That's where I was born. I was born at a farm inini. I grew up. Ndakagara mafarms ndakagara inonzi kuMandizuma kuZimbabwe. I was born pamuringai farm. I grew up kuMandizuma. Ndikaenda kuNorton ndikagara panonzi paFararaini. Ndikagara panonzi paSaruwe Souls farm. Kana mutaura vanhu ikoko vaitambura, handisi kuziva kuti vaitambura ndevapi. Because mafarms atakakura tichigara isusu, hapana kutambura kwa taidya tichiguta. We had almost everything. Taienda kuzvikoro. Ndakatanga kuenda kuchikoro kunonzwa Mutema Sango inini. Taienda kuzvikoro isusu. Hanzi 𝗪𝗘𝗑𝗘𝗧 was just like Bond Msayuda. No. That was the most powerful currency in the world. That was the most powerful currency in the world. It was one equivalent to 2 British pounds. We had the the strongest currency in the world, Rhodesia. And it mona. By now, vanhu vemapurazi vachipiwa kana 70 pounds a week. Muno muUK, vanhu vakushandira, especially manurses vazhinji, 600 pounds a day. 600 pounds, 700 pounds a day. Vachipiwa 65 pounds an hour. Manurse muno muUK. And murigona. So, our country is drowned. We've got an irresponsible criminal elite running the country. This is what the president has addressed you today. And in the morning, if we look at our banks today, they can't even give you money. And vanhu vese vaive nema-accounts, aive nema-foreign currency, havasina chavanacho, mari yese yakatorwa. It was replaced, payenzi hanzi 1:1, kuri kuda kubira vanhu mari. Ukada kutarisa Zimbabwe, vanhu vataifuka kuti mabusinessmen vane mari, vanga vakachengeta mari kumabank, havasina chavanacho vanhu vaya. Yakarohwa ne1:1. Hanzi 1 bond note is equivalent to $1. How can you bond a $1 iwe usina chekuibonda nacho? And pakabiwa mari dzevanhu. Up to now, kuna one who lost their money. They can't recover it. As where are these Warakashi from? Need people with the relevant facts. The problem is they debate without facts. They become emotional when we lay down facts. Because I grew up in Rhodesia. I was born at a farm. It was bought by a farmer. Papa wangu bought that house by a farmer. Murungu ainzi Denskend. ukaenda kukaroi kune murungu ainzi 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗢 ndiye murungu white farmer akatengera baba vangu imba mulocation. Baba vangu inini vakatengerwa imba white farmer ainzi 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗢. And Rhodesia dollar was even powerful than rand, and it was the second largest currency in the world. This is true. It's there on internet, Noma. Google read. The problem is ZANU-PF people, they want to debate without knowing. It's things which are there. Different sources. You read economics. The strongest currency in the world. Why? So if you look at Zimbabwe dollar today, Zimbabwe is a country without currency. It doesn't have currency. They use RTGS, they use bearer checks, they use bond notes, coin bond. We don't have currency. This is why you see we can't have even investors in our country. Because we have got no currency. We have got the second highest level of inflation in the entire world. Atina currency. Zvima RTGS nezvima bond zviri volatile. Zvakabuda kana pane video yandichakuratidzai kana ndikaiwana. Achitaura interview achiti bond note is the strongest currency in Southern Africa. It is equivalent to $1. One bond to $1. Emerson Mnangagwa went on to say that. And Mnangagwa said that he has got one bond note equal to $1. And he went on an interview and told the whole world that his bond note is the strongest currency in the region. And this is where the people of Zimbabwe's deposits or monies, savings were all stolen by government. You understand what I mean? I grew up at a farm. Guys, my father was a mechanic. Baba wangu waigadzira matractor vachirima minda yemabhunu nematractor. Ndakakurira pafarm. Ndakakurira pafarm inini. Taurai inini. Kwe musanongedza vamwe vanhu kuti wakakurira uri munhu kumapurazi. Taurai inini ndiri panapa. I was born pamuringai farm. I was born at a farm. Ndakaberekerwa papurazi. Ndikatokura kuThengwe. Panonzi paMandizuma. Ndopataigara, ndakakurira ipapo. Vopamandizuma tikaenda kuThengwe chaiko, tikazobva kuThengwe tikaenda kuNorton. Kwataigara kwainzi, takataka kugara panonzi paFararaini. Tikazobva tikaenda kunonzi kuSaruwe Souls, kuThengwe, kuGwebi, kudhuze neGwebi College kwakwe. Kwatakakura. Tikazobva apo nguva dzehondo dzedze, tikazonogara panonzi paChisman. Tikadzoka kuenda muHarare. Ndichigara nasekuru wangu kuHarare. Ndichizobva muHarare, ndichiuya ndichigara kuKarowe. Saka zvinhu zvekumapurazi ndochatsozvinzwisisa inini. Ndiri kuFararaini kuNorton. Taienda tiri vana vadiki chinonhonga makonye mufodya. Taibhadharwa 14 cents. Ukanhonga kabhodhoro kakopuwa 14 cents. Ukanhonga timabhotoro 2, waiti ukanhonga mabhotoro ako akawanda, waiwana $2 a day. I grew up at a farm. Zimbabwe is the only country in the world today without a working ATM. Aina working ATM, aina currency. Ngatingotaura kuti inyika isina currency, inyika isina mari. Inyika isina mari where you go and buy a bond. You use a bond, not money. They lied to say one bond was equal. Yes. E.D. Mnangagwa himself as president of Zimbabwe addressed the whole world. And he said one bond is equal to $1. Adora, dear Munomoda is our president here, who is lying to the world. Blatant lie to the world. A liar. A blatant lie to the whole world. And I'm still surprised today if someone still debates on the issues that tangible in our day-to-day life. A blatant liar who lied to the whole world that $1 is equivalent to 1 bond. Who went on to say his bond note is the strongest currency in Southern Africa, which means it was perhaps the second strongest currency in the world, because $1 is second to the British pound. And he went on to say it was equivalent, lying to the whole world. Also, Paipa mnenge muchiti president 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 muchiudza Chamisa kuti 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 kwaudza vaChamisa kuti mukanzi imimi uyai Pollard rambai. Why do you go to Pollard for? Ndo jecha racho. Jecha redu takataura vaChamisa kati my elections abirwa. Don't give this man legitimate. He stole the election. Yakanzi nazvobo zvikanzi whoever steal an election must be put on sanctions. Saka ukanzwa tichataura vaChamisa kuti 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 tikuataura vaChamisa kuti rambai makamira nesu vanhu veZimbabwe. Mukanzi uyai Pollard rambai. Mukanzi takirieta opposition position muparliament rambai musaenda. Because the munhu ari kucreaterai is illegitimate. Let them rule the country. Don't get involved. Saka ukanzwa tichitaura vaChamisa 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, we are telling him good, don't get involved in this mess. And kuramba kwavachamisa to be involved, that cannot stop ZANU-PF from developing the country. Itaituone. No jecha racho iroro. I think I've answered you promptly. We don't want Chamisa to be involved in the mess created by ZANU-PF. We don't want him to be in Pollard. We don't want. We don't want him to legitimize an illegitimate person, an illegitimate president who goes to lie worldwide that his dollar is equivalent to $. And I do agree to the idea that someone fought for my freedom. How do you free another man? They fought for their freedom, which is true. So, Anzi, please tell Vepa good MDC didn't send ED to buy the helicopter issue Tichitambura. I think he sees it now, what we mean when we say Wachamisa 𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪. Don't give him legitimacy. And the manzawa zobo achiti illegitimate people must be put on sanctions. That was Zobo. It was not me. And it was Zobo, not Shepherd Yuda. It was Zobo, not Chamisa. It was Zobo, not Morgan Tsvangirai. It was Zobo, not Welshman 𝗙𝗧𝗎𝗎. It was Zobo, not Tendai BT. It was Zobo, not Amai Kore. And the Yuda sanctions are off and the Mnangagwa still present. Will it change? He doesn't have a plan. So nothing will change. Nothing will change because he doesn't have a plan. So the poverty in Zimbabwe, it still increases. If you see today for the last decade, there's an alarming rise in the rate of poverty in our country. It is now at its highest in recorded history. Zimbabwe suffered an inflation that no country in the history of currency suffered. If you see what we are in now, we are at the extreme end of poverty. The population is struggling. How is Chamisa going to attain convergence without Pollard? Pollard is not convergence. Pollard is a grouping of losers, a club of losers. So we don't expect President Chamisa, who garnered 2.6 million votes, to go and sit next to Kupe, who got 45,000 votes. Sit next to Anonza Anuya or 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, Kuimba Nora. who got 0.002% of the vote. That is a club of losers who have got no idea how to run the country. So far, they've been there for 3 years. Can you tell me the benefits of Pollard? What did they bring to Zimbabwe? What benefits did they bring? Nothing. They are just going there. Already they are demanding cars. They are demanding privileges because they are in Pollard with a 0.001% of votes, which means about 7 people who voted, some of those people in Pollard. 7 people. Someone was voted by 7 people and is in Pollard. 3 years down the line, that Pollard never brought anything tangible. So what we are saying is, we cannot allow our president to stoop so low, Chamisa, to join a club of losers. As you please, Kanda, that photo of ZANU-PF guy in a gold Nemari. Yeah, that photo. Let me see if I can access it, because if I can access that photo. That gold is not being sold. It's not being sold. That gold is not being sold. That gold is not being sold in Harare. It's being sold elsewhere in Africa, in the world. It's being sold in US dollar. It's not being sold in RTGS. You understand? Then someone is telling you there are sanctions. You are using US dollar. You are crying that Zimbabwe is under sanctions. But you are using American dollar. If you were truly under sanctions, I don't think you will be using American dollar. They won't allow you to use their currency. I don't think they will allow you. You understand? So it's like, it's just a propaganda that is being used by ZANU-PF to try and hoodwink people who do not read widely, people who do not seek knowledge. That's the problem we have. We do not seek knowledge. We do not seek to know or to learn. We just take things. We are not being critical. Zimbabweans are not being critical. You just take things at face value. You are told that we are suffering because of sanctions. As I worked for a parastatal, Mazami wire, Tichipa, Zukwered, Masinga Badare. Our Badare one wire. You see, this is what we mean. This guy's name is Scott. This is 7/7/2020 last year. He has gold bullions. These are called gold bullions. Pure gold, purified gold from Zimbabwe. Look at how much this guy has. These are millions, because I think it's tagged million. If you count how many millions are there, this is 2 million. Million, 2 million. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Zichienda is about 1, 2, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4 million times, that means the volume is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 4 times 4. The volume, length times width, 16 times height. Then you would know how much this guy has. So it's got 2, 4, 6, 8 million, 8, 10, 12, 14. He has got 14 million US dollars here. This is someone who is telling you that we are under sanctions. He has got 14 million US dollars on his table, plus a lot of gold bullions. These are purified. This is purified gold, ready for anything, with the 14 million US dollars on the table. And this guy is telling you we are suffering because of sanctions. And someone who can't afford to buy a loaf of bread believes this guy that we are suffering because of sanctions. How can America impose sanctions when you use their money? This is $1 million. Because this is 100. This is 100 US dollars. These are millions. It's got 14 million on here. Because these are $100. This is a bundle. This bundle can't be 100,000. This one can't be. Because 1,000, there are only 10 of these leaves. If you count how many leaves here, they can't be 10. They can't be 100,000, this one. Because 1,000 is just 10 leaves. And American leaves 10. If you look at this bundle, it's $1 million, this bundle. There's 14 million on the desk with the bullions, gold bullions. That is 14 million. But if you see this bundle, this one is $1 million. Look at it. This can't be 100,000. I'm telling you, that can't be 100,000. If 100,000 is just a small bundle like this, this is 100,000 by 10. This one. But if you look at it, it's tied, probably 100,000 tied or 500,000 tied. If you look at it, these bands that tie them, this is $1 million US dollar. And these people will tell you that we are suffering because of sanctions. And why does sanctions not stop them from selling this gold in in US dollar? This is 14 million US dollar, which is on the table, plus gold bullions. And this guy is telling you that we are suffering because of sanctions. These are $100 notes. So for you to get 10,000 or 100,000, is just a small bundle like this. These are minted user. And this guy has got 14 million on his table. He is telling you that we are suffering. We are under sanctions from America. And some nini campops believe on this one. You don't know. And these people are telling you we are suffering from sanctions. So we have proved our point. We are done with it. Thank you, Mjidi. So let's go on to talk about what President Chamisa said. Was, hey, that was 11:15. So we are back to the old colonial days. If you look at whatever you saw now on that table, we are back to colonial days. You used to see this, the large sums of money, and these people are greedy. These people are greedy. This was a direct replacement of a dominant, oppressive settler regime or minority with a dominant, oppressive, indigenous, elite minority. So when we see that these greed people are just a minority, how many people can afford to have 14 million US dollar on a desk plus gold bullions on a desk? How many can afford that in Zimbabwe? And they come to you and say, we are suffering because of sanctions. Where are the sanctions when these guys take gold to America to sell it with the American dollar? Where are the sanctions? When they export diamonds to sell them in Dubai, to sell them elsewhere in the world, where are the sanctions? So it is corruption, not sanctions, that have delivered us into this poverty. These people are greed and they're an oppressive regime. And avanyari, but my picture ya avatoru ne mumumu. Vantora vega ma pictures vachikanda pa ma internet. For you people to see kuti makapusa. Hakuna munhu anovatora mapicture vachikanda pa internet. Vanokanda vega pa internet. Vakanotenga mabugatti, muri driver mabugatti muZimbabwe. Muri driver motikari ye 1.2 million US$. Ukana motikari inofamba nemupanhu anonzi nduna uya, it's about $500,000 worth of a car. Imported from another country. And some people say it's a sanction. When one person is driving a 500 worth of a car, 500,000 worth of a car, which he bought cash. And the people will say that's sanction. Where is the sanction? And even more. So this is where we are, guys. Kuti takambotambura nemaroditions. Tichiti vari kutidzvanyirira. Takutambura nemaroditions echitema. Zimbabwe, today, most of these guys, most of these youngsters are brainwashed. They are disguised as national service. Wafana murikuona pa runyora panapa. Vanonga inziwe nyarara iwewe national service iwewe. Do the national service for the country. Varikunzi nyarara iwewe MDC is trying to reverse the gains of independence. Whilst they vachiwaridza $14 million per table with gold renyika. Iwewe urikunzi uri national service muyouth muzanu. Iwewe urikunzi iwewe uri mugadhijere iwewe ndimi waridzi wenyika, ndimi unochengeta nyika. Urikunzi uri musoja iwewe uchimhanya nezi-AK iriya uchipuwa $60 a month. Uchimhanya nenjombo uchifane beans. Mangwana munhu ari kukudza kudaro anenge akawaridza $14 million per table negoridhe. Akata kutovhara watch yegold kuti usaiona. A watch that will cost about 12,000, 13,000 pounds. Mu UK. Which is about $15,000. Yokuti akapa mugadhijere pension ye 15,000 anovakaimba. Unfortunately, masoja nemapurisa vari kubuda rupuwa $900 is lump sum. Unoenda unovaka chine 900. Haikwani kana kucheresa toilet mugodi. Haikwani. So this is where we have gone, where we got with the ZANU-PF. These people are just oppressive. This is why you see they are so aggressive. When they come live on Facebook, they want to be aggressive. Every time they write, they become aggressive. They've got a language that they've been taught. An antisocial language that they use. They don't know that Zimbabwe is a country with a constitution. Zimbabwe is a country for every Zimbabwean. Ndina yangu 14 million ndakaiwaridza gold billions angu. But these people are progressive. They are retrogressive, these people. They've taken Zimbabwe back. Look at Mariripa Nigirine. Dai kuvaka bridge rakanaka ukaranda. Vaingotora just 1 million from that cash. Wenda ukaranda unovaka bridge. But they've taken you back. Look at the bridge that they officially opened in Karanda. Whilst they've got $14 million on their table, plus gold bullions. Atisukutaura yamaona ndiye munhu wani. Asutaura madiamonds akatwana namai mjuru. Yamaona ndiye munhu wani yamaona. Nyika ina kuzvipatara vakatora 1 million vakatenga mishonga vanhu vanorapwa kuzvipatara. They can't. They don't want. So these are the people that we have. Everything that so far I've mentioned from the address of President Chamisa, they touch the constitution of a country. We have got rulers. We have got criminals as rulers who are trying to criminalize Munwe Zimbabwe. They are enacting laws trying to criminalize you. Draconian laws such as the 𝗦𝗣𝗘𝗘𝗧𝗔𝗕𝗪 Act. That the Patriotic Act is meant to keep you shut, to keep you don't talk. Kona tichiba isusu nyarara. Ukada kutaura tokurova. Grace Mugabe ring rake area. Thanks Mkoma Sylvester. Ring ra Grace Mugabe rakanetsa area nemuindia wake kuti ndire mari. You understand? So they are trying to put that Patriotic Act to try and silence you. that zvawaona nyarara, this proposed CIBA law and the shameless amendments and bastardization of the Zimbabwe as a nation. They've got school of ideology, Chitepo, where they will tell you that go and implement a patriotic act because you are the National Youth Service, whilst they have got millions on their tables. They've left a divided country. The purveyors of violence, which is ZANU-PF. The merchants of polarization, propagating hate and spewing vitriol as their core business. President Chamisa wataura. Vakatwa munoona vanobuda uturu. Vanobuda uturu hwekutuka. Vanenge vachirutsa zvinonhuhwa, vachituka zvinonhuhwa. Zvokuti haukwanisi kuzviprinda pavanhu. Vanhu vamunoona vanonhuhwa kana vakutanga kutaura zvekunhuhwa. Vanhu vezano. Nokuti vane mutemo yekutaura zvekunhuhwa ivo. They don't want you to talk. Handiri muri kuona. Mungada kutarisai zvinhu izvi zvataurwa naPresident Chamisa. Vataura vakati, for a good example, tina last Tamai Mainga Hama, he was my best friend. Mainga Hama was my best friend. Ask him. Unoziva munhu anonzi Yuda. Mainga Hama will tell you. Tungamirai Madzokere, Councillor, varimo mujeri nhasi, sentenced to 20 years in prison. Nemhosva yavasina kupara. Vasati vatongwa vakagara 2 years murimandi, vozotongwa 20 years. Injustice on its own. Tikatarisa vana Johanna Mamombe vari kurambirwa bhero. Pane vanhu vakaba mari dzenyika vari panze. Vana Sewiki Neo vari panze havana kusungwa. Zvinhu zvinonzwisa tsitsi when we have got a country like Zimbabwe being run down by such idiots. Tina Cecilia Chimbiri right now variko kurimandi kufemale section. Mhosva yakapara ndeyei? No freedom of speech. Tozvachitaurwa naPresident Chamisa nhasi. Varume mukanatarasa munhu anonzi Chamisa uyawe, we have lost an opportunity. Munhu watofana kubata sezai. Because he has got a calling, that man. Chamisa has got a calling. If we lose Chamisa, we've lost everything. Azi mashazi noma ndo zvakanakira kuenda kuchikoro, guys. A US dollar note is 0.11 millimeters. That means you need 1.1 millimeter to have 1,000 US dollars of new notes. That 1.1 centimeters gives you 10,000 US dollars. I don't think mapedza mkoma Robi mapedza. Saka iye kana akaenda kuchikoro pane ruler. I think I've got a ruler somewhere here. Ndofunga ndine ruler somewhere. Achazivi ruler yangu iri panda. Ndada kumuratidza 1.1 centimeter. 1.1 centimeter is just like this, which gives you 10,000. So for you to get 100,000, you need something like this for 100,000 US dollars. If you have got 10 of these, you have got $1 million. I think he's answered. Noma is answered here. She's answered here. No, ZANU-PF, they rush into defending things that they've got no clue about. So thank you, Mkoma Robert Kugara. Vataura zvikanzi 1 US dollar note. New one. It's 0.11 millimeters. And unokazaka millimeters vakakaita. So 0.1 of a millimeter. Come on. Ma millions, 14 million amoneka waridzwa patebhuru iya, hanzi 100,000. Sorry guys. Noma, you have to and I kuchikoro. Achazi mabhuku anga awandisa munomu. Ngada muratidza noma about a millimeter or so. Ndaifana muratidza man. Scientific measurements. A millimeter about so. Ndaifana muratidza. But now mabhuku achawandisa. Zvaida ndaenda ndaka zviburisa kudhara. So ndo nyaya yacho iripo. So the continued assault on the opposition MDCT is because Mnangagwa is not well informed. He thinks MDC Alliance is a party that went to request for sanctions. So he is now on the war path with the party. A party that represents the largest number of voters in our country. And Mnangagwa has taken a dangerous path to try and dismantle MDC Alliance, which he has got no capacity. His boss, you said, the boss, referring to Mugabe. His boss tried to destroy MDC, and he died without destroying it. What he managed to destroy was only President 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, but he failed to destroy the MDC. With the amount of violence that we witnessed from the inception of MDC from 1999 up to now, with the number of people who died, who were killed by ZANU-PF, with the intensity of violence that we witnessed for the past 20 years, by now, ingadai kusina MDC. Zumu went under that intensity violence, and Zoom was disbanded. But ZANU-PF for the past 20 years, despite all these killings, incarcerations, destruction of property, the people of Zimbabwe remained united under MDC. To the extent that a free and fair election, as according to Zidera, which ZANU-PF is saying, do reforms, go for an election, and they are refusing. They know they won't stand any chance with MDC. ZANU-PF is a bygone party. Hansi, let you watch that 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗓𝗪 video. Thank you, 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗓𝗪. 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗓𝗪 I even 1 million yanga big. Noma, go and look at that video. 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗓𝗪 I even 1 million. It gives you an idea of how much was on that table. That's what they want. I'm so bangwa. So this is the address that was done by President Nelson Chamisa. At 41 years, our esteemed veterans are a source of disappointment. We don't have adequate support and welfare for them. The government never budgeted for our war veterans. Ukaenda kumamisha kuma war veterans hata ngemapenzi. Ukatasa makundebvu, unotoona kuti iri benzi nemandebvu. Zvakufamba zvishingopenga zvichihumana nenhamo nenzara amapenzi kumamisha. Hanzi nampofu, see you when live again. Thank you, Koan. Thank you so much. Ukatasa vanonzi ma war veterans ukasasa tsvina. They can't afford to buy a shoe now. Ukona vachifamba haufunga ndo vanhu vaya vakapoma 50,000 vaiva ichiri kutenga iri mari. Akufamba achange mapenzi achihumana murodhu. Zvachembera manje zvimusoro zvezvachena dumbu. Kazvona murodhu munoti zvidhara zvezvaparara zvapera. Apa nenzara zviri kuzhuzha. Hazvichakwanisi kusunga kunorima. Andimona. Ukazvitarisa, most of them, they were injured during the war. Saka munhu akutaura kuti makafira mahara. Vaiudzwa kunzi muchanogara dzimba dzekuborodho dzemabhunu muchadzitora izodziya muchanodzigara. 41 years after independence. Kana wana rugara kuborodho hakuna. Kuna chiwenga chete na ED. As it true that in Mzaraban the people live in fear up to now. What there is independence is not existent. Vamwe achirugara mudzimba dzemapango. Zvinonyadzisa 41 years after independence. By now ngadai muZimbabwe mese muya takunyatsotaurisa kuti hai ndo nyika manje. Ngade usikawane imba yemapango. Kuna deforestation in Zimbabwe. Vanhu vari kutema mapango unovaka dzimba vachinama nenzira nendove. Respect our voters, Yuda, you are not competent politicians. Tikutaura kuti mapenzi. Kwatarisa mandebvu aya zvazvimapenzi zvachembera man, zvapera basa. Zvimapenzi zvaishandiswa kunopisa misha, kunotema vanhu, kunorova vanhu. Zvazvimapenzi manje. Ukazvitarisa sokunonzwa tsitsi nenzara. There is no social welfare benefit for them. Muno munhu akakuratidza Eustace nezuro. Hanzi mabhosi akawaridza 14 million. Iwo uzwa kuti is 10,000, that's why vakuita naro. It's very unfortunate that they are not knowledgeable. Ipapa Eustace ukamubvunza namuratidza goridhe. Ngamuratidza 14 million yakawaridzwa patebhuru Eustace. Hauna kana sendi. Yeah. Panotaurwa pano. Vusa. You understand what I mean, guys? President Chamisa wataura kuti these people are esteemed veterans of the war, but they have disappointed the nation. Today, through their disappointment, they've got no adequate support. They've got no welfare at all. Vaugara muzimba zvemapango, varuta deforestation, vachitema mapango vachivaka dzimba. Zvaitwa nana mbuya nehanda, 16th century. This is what they are still doing in Zimbabwe. What country have we created? Is this why we went to war? Many of these war veterans still carry wounds. Many of these veterans have got injuries from the war around 70s. Many are living in abject poverty in our country. Ukavatarisa zvakutange mapenzi zvimadhara zvazvo. And that's why they are resuscitating green bombers, because my war veterans are perabas. Vaperabas and avachadi zvekushandiswa. Saka vakubata tufana tu tukazvarwa kuma 1990 kuti handei munomacha. And tuvafana toda kuudzwa. Kunzi, what do you benefit out of marching? What definitely do you benefit? Ukapinda muparade square, left, right, left. Pedinenge varwar up, hey, up, hey, up, hey, up, hey, up, about left, right, left, checky, right, checky, about checky, in left, right, left. Salute the front, salute, check 1, 2, to the up, to the down, to the up, to the down, to the 10, left, right, left, up, hey, up, parade, hold, check 1, 2. Right, wamira iwe. Waenda kupass out parade. Ausi mgadjere, ausi mpurisa, ausi msoja. You are thrown back to poverty. Hansi mboka ndaika bekari. Mosi. Alright, milai mama photos acho ndikuta kumawana pa Facebook saka ari kunesa kutsvaga. Andinoona. Tutaura nyaya yekuti vafana vakuenda manje. By the front quick marching. Up, right, up, right, up, right, up. Left, check it. Right, check it. Check it. Tap, check it. Check it. Check it. In. Left, right, left. Up, right, up, right, up, right, up. Square. Hold. Check 1, 2. By the left, quick, right, up, right, up. The front, solo. Check 1, 2. To the up, to the down, to the up, to the down, to the check. Left, right, left. Up, right, up, right, up, right. Advance, right. Check it. Zvirinonakidza ushiriita uchiziva kuti kana ndabva panapa ndakuenda kubasa. Unzwa randiri kutaura panapa ndo drill riri kuitwa kuborder gezi, riri kuitwa kupolice prison army, ndo zvavanenge vachiita zvandiri kutaura panapa. Andinoona by the left quick march up, right, up, right, up, right, up, about her checking, about her in left, right, left, about her in left, right, left. Right checky, left checky, right check. Unoswera uchita zvandiri kuita izvi. Pendi yaunenge wakapfeka inobvaruka kusarata mamvemve pakati pese apa unenge pakarwa nebhazuka. Iwewe hauhore, uri kunomachiswa chete. Wapedzazvo, you are thrown back to the street. You definitely have nothing to eat. Pendi inotanga yarwa nebhazuka pakati apa. unoziva kuti friction yemakumbo apa vanenge vachipenga vakabata mamigi vakomana vachitera kumashure kwako kumagaro kuyaka vachitera vachitaura sunga takwezi iwewe sunga tax jungwaso famba mubanda iwe sunga tax apo noko vakati mupandikira pendi kuti mupandi ichisqueezwa kuti everything driri about a Jackie. Left, right, left. I will check 1, 2. But don't check 1, 2. No, what should zira? Zero churu baba. Uchi vai papo kurupinda mvura inotonhora so ude pashawa. Uchi mirune ngochita kuvhita. Wabuda mudrill. Vanhu vasina kutraina drill havazvizive zvatiri. Musaendesa vana, rambai kuendesa vana venyu. As at least most women don't wear pants, so we are safe per drill. My monogram. Pakaipa ipapo. Panofamba. Inini standard nechidaidzira 160 beats per minute. Ngadzifamba idzodzo. That's what I love your idea about having them to learn real. Those are two. Don't take our children, these youth, to go and drill them. Mapedza muwakandam street. Tikutaura tikana national service sezvinoitwa kuno ku-UK. Kuno kuwane a very clear national service program. Ukada unoenda kunojoina, kunoita kumaute koko unodzidziswa zvechiuto, ukazvida. Ukana usingakwanisa izvozvo, vanokuendesa kucollege kuno vanokubhadharira. Sunga tax farai zinoshuka pakata pakaipa kanedi unopera nyama pakatapa panenge pachipisa zvokuti ukaisa kana nyama inoibva warova drill. Saka kuno kuva neclear program national youth service iriko kuno. Ukada kuenda kunational youth service vanokupa army uniform, vanokupa zvese, you go there, you join them. Ukada kujoina chipurisa unoenda kucollege, unoenda zveancivil what college. Zvaunoda kujoina ndokwaunoenda. Kana usingade zvese zvinoenda kujob center, vanokuendesa kunodriva matractor, kunodriva zvimaforklifter, kunokudzidzisa zvaunogona uda kudzidzira iwe. Kana zvesecurity vanokuendesa. That is a national service yatiri kuda kuZimbabwe. Kwete kuenda about left, right, left. Kana wakubuda muparadhiso wakuimba double match. Unenge wadai manje. Wakuimba manje. Dirihora iro vanogara mudirwo, dirihora rembanje vanogara mudirwo, vakomana vano gwi one time hope gumbo mudenga ringe chisvika apa gumbo baba shamwari taura hako ngakuende vana mugwadi nana charumbira ndo vanodiwa ikoko, kwete kuendesa innocent youth who have never worked, who have never been to school. Go drill them, give them jobs. Give them really skills. Don't go take vana kuvaendesa kunomacha. Vamacha munovapa chii, vanopuwa chii vana ivava. Hanziko yanjuzi mapa episode ipi kudzi vanjuzi vakanzi vachanamwa na ED ndiyari kunama mapotholes. Anditi muona. So the plight of our war veterans, the plight of our youth must be brought open, and we must be advocating for real skills for these youngsters. Madara by now, ngada vashita mujgandigere vakarara musha. Anona, izvo zvakumhanya kunzi uyai muzokambena nezvindebvu zvakadai, haachamhanyi pano nepapo, haachazvigoni. Vanenge vachinzi endai munoudza vanhu ivavo kuti tinodzokera kuhondo 40 years down the line. Stop it. Anditi muona. So President Chamisa went on to talk much about unhappiness, anxiety and despair, which our citizens doesn't deserve. Zimbabwe is a great country. Mozambique, Zimbabwe is a great country. A country that missed opportunity. And that opportunity wasted by the elite that don't value the people of Zimbabwe. So we have just turned 41 years. Nas. We take a stock like what I've been reading to you. If you talk of our journey, our growth since 1980, we never accomplished much to the state that Rhodesia accomplished. We are a struggling country. Today should have been our national birthday, but unfortunately, we can't celebrate it. We have got nothing to show. We have got nothing to celebrate. Hanzi madhara anoda musango kupinda vapfana vanonyepera kuziva pasina chinobuda. Apana chavanobudisa madhara vaya. So we call for the complete realization and preservation of our independence. What do we mean by that? Africa as a continent has got a new agenda to realize the aspirations of an independent African continent. We are lagging behind with that aspiration of independent African continent. Sataurona President Chamisa. Because we can't be free from oppression. African continent today must be driven by ideas, not instruments of oppression. The one that I was talking, which is going to march, is an instrument of oppression. To come back and say, go campaign for ZANU-PF, go beat up people, go burn houses, and then what ma votera papi. That is an instrument of oppression, which Africa do not want today. Up, up, about that in. Left, right, left. All check. Fema. Unozari mwera kudaidzira ndikupera mweya. Unozari five up. Unozara kuchema ndikupera mweya pano akuru. Unarwa pasi five up. Pane gwari apo ranyamande. Ukafa turungonochera tokuiga. Toudza kumusha kwako kuti akafa pabasa. Died in action. Andiri maona. Unenge wakuda kubvisa chisivilian pamunhu akazonzi nemwe munhu zvikanzi shepherd sei uchitaura kuti kubvisa chisivilian koma civilian havana vanhu here. Ndikati ukauya pawall pangu verenga macomments anonyorwa ipapo vazhinji vacho macivilians. Ndiye chitaura chimilitary. Saka language inosiyana. Military language necivilian language inosiyana. Andiri maona munhu wandabloka ati chemkuti chako. In military language handimbloki ndomusiya. But pane vanhu vanonyarikana panapo. As we start with the personal costs on police and soldiers, they live with us. Pakaipa. So an unstable. So President Chamisa looked again at the situation in Mozambique. As it's true, we want politics, the development, whether the killing, those are true chemera. So President Chamisa, Vatarisa put the issue about Mozambique. He spoke about Mozambique, that Zimbabwe is key to peace in Mozambique. He said the people of Zimbabwe, they are in solidarity with the people of Mozambique. An unstable Mozambique is an unstable SADC, and indeed Africa needs a stable Mozambique. He went on to say the solutions must be found to end the war in Mozambique, so that peace and security remain in the region. This is a responsible president. Haasi kutaura kuti takutenda izvo zvikuhondo maadhei masoja eZimbabwe ari kuya mabody bags vari ikoko vari kurohwa nemajihadists. And the problem with the jihadist war, it will spill over into Zimbabwe. They don't spill over, it doesn't spill over into Zimbabwe. It is full-fledged war. Mark my words. Chengeta video inoi. What the jihadists do? They just come, one trap foot is always some Zimbabwe. Votora vanhu vavo uya muZimbabwe. Vasvika vanosvika pambare paya kana kupinda pamunofunga kuti panapa ndo pool yedu. Vanongopfura vanhu vese vari imomo like what they do in Kenya. And vanenge vachitora motikari dzakazara mabhomba vachiisa muvanhu vanhu vachidhuka. Vanopfeka mabhomba majihadists, they blew people. So it means when we go to Mozambique, interfere in that war, we are like inviting them to blow us. We are going to lose more people. So this will spill over in our country because majihadists havana tsitsi. Avarwisane nemasoja. Vanongorova ordinary povo. And vanongouraya at will, they don't care. They behead kudimbura musoro. Saka, when we go to Mozambique, let's wakadena mangwiro otokwinya. Takuenda kuhondo isiri yedu. Takunonobatsirana nemaPutukezi. But let's make sure kuti totokwinya munyika medu because tichakwara nema improvised devices. My explosive IEDs anonzi ma improvised explosive devices. Tinenge tine a problem in our country. Because vanogona kumagadzira munyika medu vachitiputitsira imomo. So kwatakuenda it means we have invited them in our country. So totokwinya, totosimba, we have to be strong because we are going into Mozambique to fight the jihadists. It's like we've extended an invitation to them to say, guys, we are ready for you. And they will come and blow us. They don't care. So we have to be extra careful with these people. They don't care about dying. They will just come, blow you off, shoot everyone. Apa, we have got no proper intelligence in our country. The intelligence is on people who defend a failed political regime. Fellow citizens, the contradictions arresting Zimbabwe today are as a result of hijacking of the agenda of the liberation struggle. The current crop of ZANU-PF, which is there today, they have hijacked the liberation struggle and a clear disrespect of those who sacrificed their lives to secure independence for us. Today was supposed to be an independence day, a day Zimbabwe was born. But unfortunately, today's society cannot. We can't celebrate together with the thieves. The people of Zimbabwe are subjected to untold suffering. We are living from hand to mouth, and we have got totally nothing to celebrate and nothing to show to the world that we have been independent for the past 41 years. The country has suffered long periods of isolation. Since 1965, Smith akarwama sanctions, aikumbirwa nana Zobo. And they used the ideas that Zobo kumbira ma sanctions to give ZANU-PF sanctions. Because whatever was being done by Ian Smith is similar to what is being done by ZANU-PF. You can't send soldiers to kill people on the 18th of August, on the 1st of August 2018. They sent soldiers to kill innocent civilians. They shot people. In 2008, they shot people. In 1983, they killed people. In 2019, they killed people. So Zobo said, whoever uses violence against innocent people must never be allowed into America or UK or any other member. And it must be put on sanctions. Sanctions against those people who steal elections must be intensified. Despite that you are black or white, sanctions must be intensified. So as young people of Zimbabwe, we have to stand up and fight this oppression. This is what President Chamisa's message to the nation was. Young people we must stand against this regime. As young people during 70s who stood against the regime, Ian Smith regime, they stood against oppression. And the people of Zimbabwe today, you have got right to stand against oppression. We point to them that during that oppression, you went through this and you are subjecting us through that. So what can stop us from standing against you? What can stop us? What can stop me from telling Americans that intensify the sanctions whilst you are stealing elections? You are buying a helicopter for 18 million. Our hospitals are ailing. The education is ailing. The civil servants are getting nothing. Then you are buying a helicopter for 18 million. Kusanyara and kusashka vanhu. So the spirit of independence of 1980 can no longer be found in today's society. The ongoing spirit, a never-ending, indomitable spirit that our fathers had of trying to bring democracy in 1980 hasn't been fulfilled today. The Republic of Zimbabwe is ailing. The threats that we go under every day, threats ekuti atichakwanise kumasuta stomach. Nyika yedu yakutanga nyika isina constitution. It's no longer a multi-democracy country where people would celebrate a constitution. We can't celebrate. We have been under persecution similar to the or worse than persecution that they were subjected to Rhodesia. And they took Rhodesian manual and perfectized it. So the independence that we thought could come has never come. 41 years of this journey has proved the people of Great Zimbabwe to be sufferers in the world. And that bravery is worn out. The masses are crying together. So what do we need to do? We need to revisit the victory of the liberation war, the effort that those people put. Because if you look at the liberation promises, nothing has been fulfilled. Particularly if you look at the freedom of the people of Zimbabwe. If you look at the peace, freedom never came. Peace never came. Prosperity never came. These were the promises. Transformation remained elusive to the people. This is what the president said. We've got a lot of unfulfilled promises. And some Zimbabweans died without recognizing those promises. The promise of independence never came. It still remains unfulfilled. This is what President Chamisa said. The idea of independence, the pact, Zimbabwe citizens, everything never came. You can't stand proudly today and say you are a Zimbabwean where you are not required. You are not wanted in a country known as Zimbabwe. The liberation effort that our fathers followed, the pursuit of the liberation effort, the establishment of a democratic state was never realized in our country. Zimbabwe could today be a center of development, but nothing has developed yet. The war was waged to establish one man, one vote, a society that would fulfill everything that we expected. And after war, they said, regardless of gender, regardless of race, creed, ethnicity, or political affiliation, we are going to live in harmony. This is what they promised. And that never done. That was never done. We never realized that. So, today, works a patriotic act to force you to love them. They've forgotten that they said, despite of gender, race, creed, ethnicity, or political affiliation, Zimbabweans must live as one. One Zimbabwe. So, President Chamisa, Vatanga addressed Wachtarod, I join you in praying, in paying tribute to our iconic heroes and heroines. He respected those people who fought during the war. He paid tribute to them. He paid tribute for something that we could have attained, which is independence. He said the colonial rule fell. But did we realize what we fought for? Why the colonial rule fell? Gallant sons and daughters of Zimbabwe, men and women who perished during the great cause of that war, died for nothing. It's something that if you think today, why did these guys die? Totally nothing. Zimbabwe, this is an occasion where we should have been showcasing that the oppression system has failed or had failed. The importance of independence today, no one sees it. Even if we speak, this nationhood and patriotism will never be in us until we realize freedom. Today is the 18th of April 2021. where Zimbabweans must commemorate 41 years of independence. An important day for every Zimbabwean. An important day in the history of our country. But that day tends to be a day of mourning. People are hustling to eat. Fellow Zimbabweans, this is an address that was issued by President, an address to the nation from a great leader, President Nelson Chamisa. He was talking about our independence. 41 years, Zimbabwe at 41. The convergence call, re-imaging the promise of independence. We are still looking for independence. And when he ended his speech, Chamisa said, "Thank you. Have a blessed Independence Day. Proud citizens of Africa." That statement, 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗪𝗧. Considering all what Chamisa has said, considering everything that Zimbabweans are going through, at the end, as a father, as a responsible leader, he ended his speech by saying, "Have a blessed independence." That statement alone, yaita kuti ndicheme. That statement alone would have a blessed Independence Day. Yaita kuti ndicheme. Zimbabweans have never realized independence. Zimbabweans have always been suffering. We have always been suffering. And we don't know when our suffering will end. If we don't stand up and fight, that means we will die suffering. And they will keep on enriching themselves and their children, whilst you and your children will continue to drink sewage. Vana avamwe vedu varuto mvura yekunwa chaiyo is being imported from South Africa. Mushonga wamazino from South Africa. Colgate. Mafuta ekubikisa ari kubva akanzi naminista ari kubva kunonzi kuchi kuArgentina. Mafuta ekubikisa chaiyo kubika ari kubva kuArgentina. That means we are left with nothing in our country, no production at all. Kana Zimbabwe yakutenga mafuta ekubikisa, hanzi anoya crude oil from Argentina. Wozeta purify tozotengeserwa isusu. Zvinhu zvatairima tega muZimbabwe. Varume, munozoda president akaita sei? Munozoda munhu akaita sei? Ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to say to President Chamisa on behalf of the nation, thank you very much, President Chamisa, for this address. I am one of people who have been humbled by your calmness. You are such an amazing leader, a determined individual who want to see you and me tichidya tichiguta. So to the people of Zimbabwe, I say, don't be discouraged with whatever is happening at the moment. We might be ashamed at this juncture. Their aggressiveness makes us ashamed. We live in anguish. We are alienated in our country. But one day is one day. Get my words. Mark my words. One day is one day. We are still energetic. We can still be encouraged to free ourselves. We are eager to fight for our independence. The statement or the speech that was given to Zimbabweans excited a lot of Zimbabweans. President Chamisa gave hope to you people. I really know that most of you now are much interested about this important convergence thing that President Chamisa has spoken about. ZANU-PF, they've been on the offensive side since 1980. And if you become neutral in this fight for freedom, then it's like you are supporting ZANU-PF. Let's remove fear. Let's be optimistic. I am optimistic. This is why I always come live on Facebook, 8 o'clock, talk to you guys. It's quite interesting, the topics that I touch. This is why you see, I don't want those who are easily irritated by my words. If those words were directed to me, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. I would love to see this is type of language that ZANU-PF uses. This is why ZANU-PF lose elections. This is why they end up rigging, because they can't win election with that type of language. Chamisa is a great man. He has shaped even me to be a great man. I'm still fighting to be a great man. We don't grieve on things or grieve on things that we can solve. I know some people here were trying to distract us, but you can hardly distract Mnagada Shepherd dude. So most of them, you end up being humiliated with the people on the platform. This platform belongs to Zimbabweans. And you end up while lonely. Usina ukutaura naye. And so issue ripo, ladies and gentlemen, before I finish, that's not how us. This statement was long. Before I finish, let's see Noma. This is 14 million here. 1.1 million. 1.1 centimeters is about $100,000 US. So if you look at the thickness of this US dollars, this is 14 million. And these people is hiding a gold watch, and they tell you that we are struggling, we are under sanctions. Whilst they sell gold at will, they take this to Dubai, and thousands of Zimbabweans fled that country. So I'm going to play 𝗔𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 Mnangagwa's video before I call it quits. Then I'll play what Zobo said for the benefit of Zimbabweans.
There's one man called Nelson Chamisa.
This journalist, this one, I like this woman because she is the one who introduced this issue of Chamisa, this gentleman known as Chamisa, to 𝗔𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 Mnangagwa. And Abaita to Mnangagwa Varuke. I like this woman. Shaita is probably one of the heroes in Zimbabwe. Because I go bootlick, but she went there to expose Mnangagwa. I want you to listen to her questions. Those questions were not bootlicking, but were meant to expose Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. Listen very carefully.
There's one man called Nelson Chamisa who is standing aloof, standing there. What are the preconditions, or what conditions are there for you to create a working relationship with them?
Right. Did you hear that lady's question? He is asking Mnangagwa, could he create my working conditions? I gotta say, this man announce Chamisa, because I like the word that this lady used, that he is standing aloof. That is very true. I like the word. Chamisa is standing aloof. To create a working relationship. This lady went there to expose this man. The word aloof to know. Let me Google the word aloof, so that you guys really understand my questions. This is the word aloof. The word, it's an adjective, which means not friendly or forthcoming, cool and distant. So if Chamisa is standing aloof, he is standing cool at a distance. He is not being friendly to a dictator, and he is not forthcoming. That means Chamisa's position will never change. And Chamisa is conspicuously uninvolved. Kuti arikuramba asiri involved in anything to do with his ZANU-PF. He is distant, he is detached, he is unresponsive. Akaramba kuenda. He is unapproachable because anoziva ndakabirwa my elections. And this, I like this word when this lad introduced it to Emmerson Mnangagwa. Chamisa is being independent, is self-sufficient, is quiet, is private, is reserved. I like the word. I like the word that this woman introduced. I like the word that this lady used. So I'm going to play it. You now know the meaning of standing aloof. He's at a distance. Chamisa doesn't want to be involved. And for certain reasons. I like the word this lady used as aloof. Listen.
There is one man called Nelson Chamisa.
One man.
Who is standing aloof.
He's standing aloof.
What are the preconditions or what conditions are there for you to create a working relationship?
He's asking very clear questions. What are the preconditions you have to create a working relationship with the President Nelson Chamisa? This was the question. It is a very simple, straightforward question. Tererai.
What conditions are there for you to create a working relationship with them?
Well, you've mentioned this one.
Right. Here's the answer from a clueless leader. He has been given that you have got someone distant who is knowledgeable, but he doesn't want to get involved in you. Answer yasho.
Zimbabwe. You forget that him and his vice president went to America.
Right? The question that 𝗔𝗙𝗟𝗪 Mnangagwa was asked by this lad, 𝗔𝗙𝗪 did not delve into the question. He is now talking about Chamisa going to America, Kudima sanctions were intensified. This is what he's saying. He's saying things that he doesn't have evidence in. You can't call this person a president. Listen.
To ask for sanctions to continue to be imposed on Zimbabwe. Right.
So he's saying Chamisa went to ask, he is not even answering the question that he was asked. He's talking, he's dreaming, daydreaming, talking something else that he was never asked by the journalist. The journalist is asking him what he is doing to create a working relationship with the President Nelson Chamisa. Then he's saying, Chamisa arugenda kwa America ngukumbira ma sanctions. Is that what he was asked?
So before they cut that biblical code with the Americans, it is difficult to be proper Zimbabweans.
Any child,
and he dodged.
Child would get a bit of a shabok to get them into line, either physically.
So this journalist again, he pushed Mnangagwa to expose his violent side. He asked him, kuti munesha muine munyu yekumurova nayo kuti apinde mugwara. He knows that the man is violent. He uses violence. And he pushed him to comment on his violent nature.
Or through other measures, maybe counseling. What are we doing with this child of ours? Yes.
Well, I still believe that Mr. Chamisa is a young Zimbabwean.
There is one man.
And I think he now admits that Mr. Chamisa is a capable young man. But this man has been pushed to expose his violent nature by the journalists. And he said, is not answering. He never told us what he is doing to create a working relationship with the President Nelson Chamisa. Atanga kutaura zvema sanctions kuti wakaenda na vice president wake kunokumbira ma sanctions. Do you have evidence? Can you show us the evidence? Then
now our demand, Mr. Chairman, this committee should be sensitive to the new imperialist intrigues.
Hanzi na vazvobo vakuisa mademands avo. Chinzwai mademands avazvobo.
Our demand, Mr. Chairman,
1978.
this committee should be sensitive to the new imperialist intrigues in the months ahead. The rigged elections should be denounced in advance because they have been rigged in advance. Sanctions should be intensified.
Zobo knows that elections are rigged. And he said these elections are rigged in advance, should be denounced. And the sanctions must be intensified. This is Zobo in 1978. Who is telling United Nations to say, if elections are rigged, anyone who rigs elections must be put on sanctions, and sanctions must be intensified.
And all members of the illegal regime, black and white, should be barred from entering any member state.
So, Zobo went on to say, any member, black or white, where regime rigama elections, must be barred from entering any member state of the United Nations. These are sanctions that is Zobo aikumbira ku America.
Of the United Nations.
Kuruzhinji rwevanhu kuti masenzwe sese zvakananga musangano. Saka mazvinzwa mega vakomana. Saka regai ndipedze ndotaura kuti kwanhasi tagumira pano, hapana asina kuzvinzwa. Ndaita analyze the speech that President Nelson Chamisa gave, and ndataura ndikati there's nothing to be cheerful of in terms of our country. We have lost a lot, we've lost generations, we've lost everything. A good example is me. I worked for this government for 13.5 years. I came out with nothing. I lost everything. Everything. Hanzi rega zvimasoja zvinodhaurwa kuMozambique. Zviriko ikoko zvikurohwa so. So, we were never liberated. It's our time, your time. We must liberate ourselves. We must be worried with what is happening to our country. This is the only nation that you and me knows is our country. Thank you so much. As well outlined, Shepherd. Thank you, Mkoma Josh. Saga for tonight. Good night. Enjoy your day. Musazo, don't let our youth go left, left, about in, left, out, in, left, check, in, left, oh, hold, check on two. Azvina zvazvinovapa vana. Vana vanofana kupiwa ma-skills ekuno-drive dzimotokari. Vanofana kupiwa ma-skills ekuenda kunorima. Vanofana kupiwa ma-skills ekuenda kunoveza. Hanzi, me too, Shepherd worked for 22 years and was given 11,000 bond. My colleague worked for 20 years, got $900 as lump sum. Thanks for explaining, bruh. Thank you so much, guys. I salute you. Good night. Time do I jealous.